Can you hear me?
Yeah, bro.
There
We
we
are
are.
good.
There you are.
What's up, Sebastian, Danny, Reich, Dunk? Good morning, good
Wait,
morning.
it's Reich? I
And
thought
to
it was
always
Rick.
Joe.
Christian, hold on. Is it Reich or Rick?
I don't know. I always said Reich, but it could
Oh
be Rick.
shit. Have I been saying
You've been
Oh
saying it
my
right or
god.
wrong the whole time.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry, Reich. I started off calling him RYK. Do you know he's been here too with me since my very first space? And what
And
just
he,
like a
and he's
gentleman you've been. What a gentleman you've been by like
yeah,
never correcting me and just like
secretly angry at you all the time about it.
I don't know. I actually don't think he's been secretly angry. I think he's actually just been all love.
I don't know.
And
We just got a heart right there. I said
yeah,
secretly angry. There was a heart, so I
Did,
well, who
feel
knows?
sorry,
did
man.
Christian, I
something?
know
Did
Christian
some?
hangs out with him a
Did it?
lot. So
Yeah, bro. Reich is the motherfucking homie.
yeah,
OG,
exactly.
bro.
He's the OG.
Uh,
He's the
we
OG of
had
OGs.
we had some a little group chat going on between a few folks when I was super new to crypto, and they showed me like I just put my post notifications on and like asking questions, and they showed me like a ton of stuff.
I'll tell you
Um,
this, man. Let me
so
tell you
yeah, hell yeah,
this.
Reich. Much love.
Let me just tell you this, Dunk. Let me tell you this, and this is on God, bro. This shit right
Mm-hmm.
here, this is on God, no cap. I'm telling you that
Stupid.
100,
Reich,
100.
that Reich has been with me. Okay, no cap, no cap on God, dude. He's been with me
Facts,
from
bro.
day one. Okay, dude is chopped AF. Fool is lit, and just like all the new words. Okay, he's all the new words. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
say that.
Joey,
And
bro.
when people were hating on me, let me just tell you this. Dude didn't fold up. Dude was a soldier. Dude held up. Dude held up like a fucking Stonehenge stone. Never folded once.
Roost.
Never folded once. So,
Wait, was there
anyway.
some drama that just happened over the last like hour or something? Because I
No.
thought I missed today's spaces. Like there was another space
There was
that
something going
you
on.
were
I
trying to
Oh,
was
was
happen.
it
there?
we were it
Was
was
there?
when we were doing our
Our
space just right
podcast?
before
Oh,
this.
okay. Okay.
There was some sort of thing where people were talking, and I briefly looked into it. But if
Oh,
anybody
oh,
else
oh.
has
No,
more information about that,
I was referring to like when I tried to help people in Link and then someone like got feelings and I was just like, "Oh, okay." But like
literally get
right,
a gift horse in the mouth.
yeah, like literally looked the gift horse in the mouth and then got feel they looked the gift giraffe in the mouth. But like Reich never folded, Jub never folded, Christian never folded. They're just all Clint never folded. These guys were just soldiers, man. And there was a lot of people, dude, a lot of people hating for no reason. So, could have easily just gone with the crowd.
But there's honestly like some random things I gotta DM you about. Just
Do
random
it.
things.
It's
Do it.
random things. You're gonna
Yeah.
DM him
DM
random
me some
things.
random things. I hope they're pictures.
You just jogged my memory, so you have to hold me to it.
All right, I will. I will. What up, JJ? How goes it, dude?
Hey, GM, everybody.
Uh,
How's everybody doing today?
Good, good. Let's see.
Doing
Did I get
great.
my thing pinned?
Another good day to be a giraffe. Oh, I need
There
to
we
go
go.
collect my rewards, actually. It's a
That's what
great day to be a giraffe.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say. If everybody hasn't collected their rewards, it's probably not a bad idea to do. Because
Yeah. No, I know. I just
it's
missed
nothing
the day of
scary.
locking them up, too. Damn it.
Well, no, you didn't. You don't. What do you mean you missed a day of locking them up?
Well, because if I
Yeah,
haven't
I
claimed
just
them,
did.
No,
I
no,
need to
they
lock
don't.
them up.
It
No, no,
doesn't
no,
compound.
no. Yeah, no, it doesn't compound. And actually, I just came off stream. I did a quick stream. I claimed all of my Gary live on stream.
Yep.
And one thing that's really cool, like literally, so rewards were shipped out yesterday, Tuesday the 15th, around like 8:30 a.m. On Monday, the 14th at 10:30 p.m. So less than 12 hours before they got shipped, I went ahead and locked up another 10,000 Gary and was able to get rewards for it, the full rewards.
Oh, so
So they're
you
I
not
get
did
the
the same
full
thing.
compounded.
monthly
Yeah,
rewards.
it's just
I
when the drop
see.
happens. Like I did the
I
same thing,
see.
JJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
locked up
I understand.
10,000 like the day before, and I got it. It always just depends on the exact day that
Okay.
the drop
Okay.
happens. So,
I thought
like
you needed it to be in the whole month. Okay. Never
now,
mind.
alternative strategy to what JJ just said. And by the way, I just want to say if you guys haven't retweeted or reposted this out, share it out. Make sure everybody gets in here and joins the space. But like what I like keeping a little bit of liquidity on the sidelines. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is I locked everything up, and I kind of leave my claim in case I want to do some giveaways and stuff throughout the month or whatever I want to do. And then if I have anything left, I just lock the rest up and then I'll get some back the following round. So I personally wait just in case there's some opportunity loss that I'll there's opportunities that I might not be able to take advantage of because I did that. But hey, my point is that there's different strategies, different ways to do it. So you could lock it up today, or you could lock it up the day before the next drop. You know.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I didn't lock up any of my claim from just now. I
Yeah.
keep that liquid also because I that's what I use to fund all these giveaways
Yep.
that
Yep.
I do as well. So and then at the end of that, like I buy and then whatever's left over I put back. So like for example, last month's claim, I think I claimed about 1700, 1800 a
Mm-hmm.
Gary, and then I think I used maybe like 600 of that or so, and then I deposited everything into that 10,000 group the day before. So yeah, similar mindset there. But I think it's great. Like ultimately, these are free rewards, right? Obviously it's dope to compound it and like to lock it up again and just keep doing that over and over. But for me, that I have a little bit more, and for anyone who's looking to get loud, do giveaways, this is a great opportunity to onboard other members into Gary Coin, and quite frank, just like use the assets that were given to us. I'm a firm believer of not selling it, so either I'm going to lock it up, but instead of being like 100% greedy, I'm sharing opportunities, I'm growing my account, I'm getting loud, putting with these giveaways and all of my content, Gary Coin and Giraffe are, front and center. So, I'm just having the assets work for me. And then I'm not like throwing everything to zero. Like I'm not giving away all, 1,800 Gary Coin that, I claimed or anything like that last month. This month, I think it was closer to 1,200 just a few minutes ago. Like I'm not gonna go give all of that away. Maybe I'll give out over the month, maybe 500 Gary running, maybe a handful to, two handfuls of giveaways, and again just staying consistent. I think that it's a great tool to shed some light on what we're building here, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that's what I do too. And welcome to the stage, Gary. What's up?
Oh, GM. Yeah, I mean, I think using your rewards to grow the economy is good. I have conflicting views of giveaways because a lot of times they don't generate desired results. I'll do maybe like 1 or 2 giveaways on my account, and this is just me. I mean, obviously everybody can do what they want, but I'll do like 1 or 2 giveaways publicly. I'll do some subscriber only things or some really quick flash things every now and then if I need to get an engagement boost. I I've found kind of reaching out to some people that I see on my replies regularly and saying, like, hey, Danny, do you have any Gary coin yet? I see you showing up all the time. No, man, I don't have any. Well, do you have a wallet? I'd love to send you a few just as my gift. I get a bunch of rewards every month and I'd like to just give you a few. Yeah, man, I'd love to have those. And like does that person then go and sell those? They could, and that's okay to me because they're showing up every day. Usually that person, and no offense if that's not you, but usually that person has a blue check because that shows me that they're committed to growing on X. That shows me that they value growing their audience and their brand on X, and that's one of the things that I look for in new community members. People that want to go get loud. It's one of the biggest reasons why like the Bored Apes became successful is because the people who wore apes grew their accounts and they grew big. So I look at that. Same thing whenever I do my giveaways. Like my sub only giveaway this month, it's just random. But if we flip D Gods and I give away a giraffe, I will pick someone. Sometimes I'll pick someone that already has a giraffe and I know they have one, but they'd love two. Right? So they have a second one so they can keep one and maybe eventually get some profits if they want. Sometimes I'll just pick someone brand new. Like, if I was going to run a giveaway, General that shows up here a lot. Like has a giraffe over on ETH, didn't migrate, still came in and bought a couple thousand Gary coins, shows up, participates. If I was going to do a giveaway in general, did all the tasks, right? Then I may pick general because they show up and they're doing what they do. Or Truman, Truman was in here showing up for a while. I think he might have got sick, but like somebody like that shows up consistently for long periods of time, I'll find my way to give them a giraffe at some point in time. I'll run a public giveaway, and as long as they do it, then I'll give it to them. I've also found like small amounts work just as good. 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or those little flash giveaways. They work good. I've also found like some of you like to buy into other communities, and using their NFTs for giveaways work really good. So you go into a brand new community and you buy one of their NFTs. You don't really care. You may think even the price is going to go down, right? But you buy it because you want to support the community, and then you go run a giveaway and you tag their founder and you look like a fucking hero. You just ran a giveaway and got them a bunch of leads. Like, Joe, how did you feel when I tagged you?
Oh, the best, man. It was great.
Your
Yeah.
account was blowing up. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't tell you I was going to tag you.
No, I didn't even know. And it like blew, dude, it grew my followers probably like 1,200 people, man.
Yeah, and that
It's like a big reason why I have the count I have now.
yeah, and that it adds a little bit more credibility when you go into another space and speak. It adds a little
Totally.
bit more credibility here because you got 5,000 followers or ever how many
Just
you have
being
now.
over that, like five,
Yep.
because that's basically what like put me over that hump,
Yep.
was like you doing that. Like anytime I go into a space now and request, I immediately am up as a speaker.
Yeah.
They're literally since ki- the difference between being 25 and 51 is so different that like the fact I have that now, you request, they just pull you up like anytime now. They just want you up there because you lend credibility to them now.
Yeah, exactly right. And those things matter. So I'll find my path to pick someone like that. Someone that's out here, they're grinding, they're showing up. I don't care if they change their PFP. I used to. Like just emotionally, I was really hung up on that because it's important. I can't say I don't care if people wear a giraffe. I greatly care if you wear a giraffe. It's one of the most important things you can do on X to help our project is wear a giraffe. It's one of the most important things you can do on Discord to help our project is put on a giraffe, and not just in our server if we launch another server, but in all servers. Same thing in Telegram, put on a giraffe. Right, as you're in other chats, as you're engaging, and as you're moving around, it markets what we're building. It grows that community. It builds a reputation for Giraffe, and I care about that. And I used to like, I'll give you this if you'll do this, and I just stopped and I said, look, I want people to really want to wear a giraffe. I want to tell people it's important, but I want them to want to wear one, so I won't put restrictions or anything like that on it. But I've tried to, just find ways to get Giraffe into people's hands. Now that they're more expensive, I'm a little bit more cautious of that because I do believe that when I give it to you, it is yours, and if you sell it, that's your choice. I do little things too, JJ. Whenever I do giveaways, some of you may not get a little hard on your posts or your comments on my post or stuff anymore because if I do a giveaway to you, when I do a giveaway, I usually know when I do the giveaway, Gary Coin, we don't get a ton of volume, so it's kind of easy to find those wallets or transactions. So if I give you Gary Coin and you immediately just go sell it, that's okay. But I'm gonna mute you and I'm not gonna see your shit anymore when we're on X. That's perfectly fine. You can do whatever you want. I don't mind. I'm not mad at you. You do you, but I'm not gonna see your content anymore because that's not someone that I want to engage with. You may still engage with me and come in and comment all over my stuff, but you'll be in the muted accounts and I just won't see you. I'll never see your content. So, do you immediately floor it? Well, that's your choice, but that's what you'll get out of me. You won't get anything else. So I'm just an asshole like that a little bit. I kind of say my thing and move on, and I don't have a lot of time for games. Like I have a friend, his name's, I mean, some of you've seen him, is Bobby Del Rio. He runs that TV show in Canada. And what's going on between the U.S. and Canada, it sucks. And I'm not going to make this into a political discussion, but Bobby is very pro-Canadian and anti-American. And he's become very pro-Canadian and anti-American. And his threads content is heavily American hate. And I just blocked him. And he had something on his story that I saw on Facebook, and it said, you know, like, I got 6.9 million views over the last 90 days or something. I'm like, man, but the content sucks. It's stupid shit. I had to block you. And he wrote to me, and he's like, you know, I don't want any, you know, hate or animosity or anything like that. I don't care what you do. It's just stupid shit. Like, I just had to block you. I don't have any problems with Bobby. I won't go on his show again anymore because I just don't want to be associated with him. It's just the wrong energy for me. So, you know, take those things and, you know, when you're doing giveaways or when you're growing your account, when you're building your brand, like everybody's not going to be your energy. I'm not going to be everybody else's energy. I was talking to Noah in the back chats, the DMs about just his show. And I said, man, your energy fell off today. When I was on the Moby Media show earlier today, I said, the energy of the show fell off. It has for a minute. And I said, you really have to curate your speakers, even if that means it's not me. Like, that's okay if I'm not the right fit for the energy you're looking for. Like, I don't get butthurt over that. I'm a unique individual. But you've got to curate the people that you spend time around. You know, we were in a space, a bunch of us last night, and they were, I mean, look, I could make so much money if I would do that. Like once, I could only make it once. Honestly, I would make more money than I've made in crypto if I did it once. I have a big enough audience and a big enough brand now. I burned my reputation, but I could do it once. And they were just, man, we're gonna look at this video. I've never seen a dev work harder. This is the hardest working dev in crypto. We're doing all this for you. We're gonna make it. Get your Solana ready. Set your slippage high. You don't want
What
to
was
miss
this?
this.
What was
I was at
this?
that space yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was some shit
Yeah.
space last night that I shared. They had, it was botted to fuck, but it was 1.6 million people in the space.
Holy shit.
That's what I said at the bottom. And when I saw that, I was like, fuck, I got to go in and at least see what they're talking about. And it was just like all night. It was like, I mean, all it was somebody would come off mic, like JJ would come off mic and be like, man, I've never seen a dev work this hard. And man, he's putting in all this work for just us. Man, he's doing it just perfect. Man, I've seen him cook before. You got to let him cook. And it was just all hype.
Oh,
And
okay. They were just hyping a new CA. Got it.
yeah, and the
Okay.
crowd was eating it up because
Okay.
that's what they wanted. They wanted to get in early and they wanted to get the hype and wait until 4 a.m. and China wakes up. When the China market wakes up, we're going to get our surge. So don't sell your stuff before 4 a.m. or you're going to miss it. Like it was all focused on what was going to happen over the next like 12 hours.
Right.
That's not my
When the
vibe.
women came on stage and
It,
talked about how these are real men up on stage and
Yeah,
making us, I'm like, oh
exactly.
my god, this is so cheesy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, you know, oh man, they're dropping a new video. How do I watch the video and not leave spaces? And man, you can't even leave the space. They're going to drop the contract any second now. And
they didn't even drop the contract yet. So they were just getting everyone like pre-pumped.
yeah,
Got it. Got it.
get ready
Okay.
for the contract because the contract
Okay.
was coming. If you were in their Telegram and if you did this and if you did that, you got the contract early.
Okay. Okay.
And the dude that was hosting it had like 2,000 followers, which is fine. Like it's fine. I don't think he ever dropped the contract. Maybe he did, and it just didn't run.
And
But
it didn't do anything. Okay.
those aren't my people. That's not my vibe.
Yeah.
Now, look, that doesn't mean that a Giraffe wouldn't go run that show and somebody could put on a Giraffe and go do whatever the fuck they want. That's part of building a decentralized brand. That's the good and the bad of it.
Yeah,
It's
but I
just like
wish you wouldn't. I wish you wouldn't, because then you would bring that kind of like
but
energy here. Like, you
it's
know?
gonna happen. It's gonna happen, and we've got to like. I mean, people, some of the biggest scammers in the world put on Bored Apes to go scam.
Right. Yeah. It is gonna happen. You're right.
And the more
Yeah.
valuable Giraffe become, the more public Giraffe become, the more people, especially people that are grifting or scamming,
That
will
actually
use
raises
Giraffe.
a great question. That, you know what? It's something I hadn't even really thought until just this second. What do we do? because that is going to happen. The more success you get, the more haters you get. But even
You don't
worse
do
than
anything.
that,
It's a free
okay,
market.
yeah, I guess you're right. We do nothing.
Like,
We just let people figure it out, huh?
yeah, like I'm in no way, shape, form, or fashion am I saying that Adrian is a scammer. In no way,
No, I
shape, form,
know.
or fashion. But
Use me as
I'm
the
not. I'm
example.
also no. I'm going to use him because he has a token.
Oh, okay,
He
got
went
it.
out and launched a token, and he's a giraffe, right? He launched a token, and he's a giraffe, right? I'm not saying he's a scammer, but I'm also not telling you that he has the conviction to build for the next 10 years. I don't know that. I don't know what will happen. So you, as a giraffe, have to look at that and say, okay, I believe that I want to invest, or I believe that I don't want to invest, and you have to be a big boy and own your own decision. And if you see someone new come in, and all of a sudden you see this account drop on a giraffe, but they're not engaging in our community, you feel scammer vibes, you just have to not engage personally. And you just have to make that adult decision because it is a decentralized brand.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with
And
that.
there's
That's true.
nothing that anybody else, anybody could do. And it's not that anybody even means to scam. Like, it just is what it is sometimes. I get it. That's, and it's me too, because I'm outspoken, and we've talked about that a little bit here, Joe. That's one of the, I guess, the downsides of me being a public
Of
founder.
you just being a public, yeah, right, right.
Like, I have an opinion. I'm very vocal about my opinion. I have a loud voice. I mean, we were in the space earlier today, and this guy spoke, and this guy, like, I mean, they were just running their mouth, and it was stupid shit.
Hmm.
And the guy wanted, like, at the end, after I talked, he said, well, Gary, you were very optimist, and I'm a pessimist, and I just don't know that I believe that. And I said, well, lucky for you, that's not your story to believe. That's my story to believe. You're the KOL of all KOL, so maybe you should go tell that story. Asshole response to him.
Yeah, sure.
And he unmiked and he said, huh, I like your response. And went back on mute
Yeah,
because he couldn't respond. Because every time someone talked, he unmiked and said, well, I have a question about that, or I want to talk about this. He just wanted to hear himself talk. And that's okay. There's people like that. But that's like, I can't help it if he's like, fuck, man, Gary, I'm putting on a giraffe. Like, fuck, I don't care. Go put on a giraffe. I don't have to vibe with you. I don't have to vibe with all giraffe. I want
of course
giraffe
not.
to be so big and powerful that I become just a giraffe. Not the giraffe, but I am a giraffe. Right? That's my goal is that's what happens. I don't care if you like me. I really don't.
It
Susan Evans
actually
from
makes no difference. It really, that's the thing in here. Like no one needs to like anyone for that matter. No one needs to be. I think it's a benefit, that we kind of sit in these rooms and we get to like vibe with each other and build friendships. But at the end of the day, that isn't what drives this. Like
But
no one
imagine if there
needs.
was a whole group of people in another space that none of us vibed with, but they all had giraffe on too, and they
Right.
all vibed together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Exactly. Well,
all that would do is create more buy demand.
that's right. That's right.
Right?
Like I want that to happen.
Right?
Actually,
Like, oh
I
well.
yeah.
Like,
Great.
oh well,
Whatever. They don't.
yeah, and I learned that on Clubhouse that you can learn a lot from people that you don't like. You can learn a lot of lessons from people you don't like. So I study
Yep.
people that I don't like. One of my mentors, Susan Evans, she taught me, or she actually told someone else they were going to hire me, and they asked Suzanne. They said, should I hire Gary? And this lady's name was Monica Shaw, and Suzanne said, well, and Monica said, well, he's kind of an asshole. And Suzanne laughed and said, he is an asshole, and he can be, but do you want results or do you want a best friend? Because if you want a best friend, Gary's probably not your guy.
Right.
Like, he's fine, but he's just probably not your guy. But if you want results, nobody will get you better results than him.
Right.
I don't look. We don't need to be friends. We can, and that's amazing if we are, but we don't have to be friends. I would rather get you results. I'd rather you fucking hate me, but you're a millionaire, than I would you be my best friend and we're broke.
Precisely. Precisely.
Like, it just is what it is. And you could be my worst enemy and go out and buy a bunch of giraffe, and I couldn't say shit. You could look at me right now and say, I hate that motherfucker. I'm going to go buy thousands of dollars worth of Gary coin. And when Gary coin gets $100, I'm going to dump it on his ass. I couldn't say shit to you. It's an open market. I can't stop you.
You know what? So somebody actually, okay, this was a while ago. This was like, probably like 2 months ago at this point, where this guy said exactly that. It was aimed at me because of a previous community we belonged to. And, he was like, I'm going to buy all this and then I'm going to farm, da, 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 and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm like, great, man, go for it. We need the volume, and it's like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like, please do that. Because in order for you to do that, means you need to go buy a bunch of Gary right now. And then you need to
Yep.
also go buy a bunch of Giraffe. And frankly, we can use the volume right now. So please go do that. And I hope you make a lot of money, by the way. And it was like, that
Yeah.
was my reply. And and it's like, because do what you want. It's a decentralized economy. Anyone can buy, anyone can sell, anyone can do whatever the fuck they want. And if you think it's nefarious, like, it's funny to me how little people like understand Web3, because thinking it's nefarious to sell something after you buy it just shows how little you understand like what's being done in this economy.
Like, I'm gonna buy something and sell it at a loss.
Yeah,
That will
I'm
show
gonna
you.
buy this thing and then sell it. And it's like, okay, great. Please do it and then go do it again afterwards. Like, I really want you to go buy and then sell and then buy some more. Please go do that. But, I,
Yep.
do you see what you're like? Do you hear yourself?
Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I get it. I also get the flip side of the buy and the hold though, because like what would do you know Soul Big Brain if I mention him?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Okay, and he's got that legendary tweet where he bought like thousands of Solana. I mean, he actually bought a bunch of Solana at like $2.
yeah, yeah. This is like back when I got my Phantom wallet type thing, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
he
yeah.
bought a bunch of the FTX Solana at like $2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
And then when Solana took the big dip, he bought at like $14 and put in thousands of like millions of dollars.
Hmm.
He bought again at 120. So if Soul Big Brain
Right.
starts selling all of his Solana, a lot of us are going to get real nervous
Sure.
if we're worried about the price of Solana and if we have exposure.
Sure.
So that's where certain people have to be very cautious of the way they operate in ecosystems. Because as people have big voices, their wallets get seen and watched.
That's totally true. Yes.
And it can create undue stress on a economy. Some of that's intentional.
Sure.
Like I just read that China sold a bunch of Bitcoin.
Yep.
Well, what are they doing? They're having a trade war.
Right.
And they said, "Fuck, we'll sell it and we'll trash the Bitcoin price because America's trying to collect Bitcoin. Let's go hurt them where we can. That's something we can do to hurt them." Right? We can collect a bunch of dollars out of that or their money or whatever they collected. So some people like
But even then, it's still at best, no matter what. And I hear what you're saying and agree with it. But the end result of that, even if it's something like a state actor like China, or someone like Big Brain who has been around here from like since I've been around and known and has a lot of money in here, at best it still only works out to be a short-term play. Because
sometimes
in the
but
long
sometimes
run,
they're bigger movers. Like Sailor, what would happen if Sailor started
well,
selling
that's
Bitcoin?
different. Yeah, that's different. Because Sailor
So
actually could probably single-handedly tank Bitcoin. But
right. So
yeah,
every ecosystem, it's a different level of person that can have a massive impact.
sure, sure. I completely buy that. I completely buy
So
that.
and each ecosystem is different.
But by and large is what I mean.
Right.
By and
So
large.
if okay, I own 10 of the meme militias that Adrian minted. I minted 10 of them for free. If
Mhm.
I go list my 10, nobody's running away because Gary listed his 10. I don't have a big voice in that community.
Sure.
right? I'm just Gary. Like, and a bunch of you've built relationships with Adrian. You have your own relationship. That's what you should do. You did your own research and you're involved. That's great. I love that. But if I listed 25 Giraffe at 5
Totally
Solana,
different. Totally
what would
different. Yeah.
happen in the community?
Well, yeah, you're gonna crush it. I mean,
If I go out in one of my wallets and I buy some unicorn fart dust and I sell it when it pumps 20% because I was looking for a gain today, nobody's going to get
yeah,
pissed.
sure.
But if I go out and sell a bunch of Gary coin when it hits 25 cents, I'm going to send a totally different signal in
Very
our
true.
community.
Very true.
Same thing as if I went and got active in another community. It's one of the reasons why I don't do any advisor work or anything like that. Like Christian had reached out to me and asked me if I was willing to talk to a project that he was involved in, and I just said no. Thank you, but just no. Because if I go get active in there and I dump on it, then I've got too big of a voice.
Yeah.
And I don't want the reputation of dumping on the community that I'm talking positive about. So the communities that I plan on trading and dumping, I don't talk about them. I stay quiet because I don't want my followers to be my exit liquidity. The communities that I'm trading in and out of, I'm very different than a community that I may want to hold in. And I'm not really looking at it as an investment. I'm looking at it as a longer term play. Doesn't mean I'll never sell, but
Sure.
it's a very much long term play.
Sure.
And I think every ecosystem's just a little bit different there. Like I could think, like if Dunk went and listed a bunch of his Giraffe, Dunk is a big voice. He's here every day. He's got a bunch of Giraffe. I don't even know how many. He's got a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Nobody
he went and
knows.
yeah, and
I
that's
like it
okay.
that way. I like it that
Yeah,
way.
and we don't need to know. But if he went and listed a bunch of them and we were able, or somebody in our community figured out it was Dunk listing, and Dunk stopped showing up here and hosting the space, well, that would probably send some uneasiness throughout the community.
I think so, but I also, at the end of the day, think, you know, not even to just say Dunk, even just myself, this place would very much go on without me. This place
100%
would
it would.
very much go on without Dunk. I think really the only real, um, at least in here, the only person who could really bury things here would be you for obvious reasons. And
Yeah,
again,
and it would
that's
go on. It would create short-term price action
yeah, yeah,
that would take
a
ever how
while.
long it
Yeah,
takes
it
to
would
recover,
take a
depending on
while.
the impact,
Right.
right? Like I don't know what the impact is of that. If somebody has 5 Giraffe, we can absorb that impact a lot easier than somebody that has
You're the
50.
Michael Saylor of Giraffe,
Yep,
and
100%.
so
100%.
like, but again, where I'm going with this is that outside of a limited number of people, I I think it's mostly just going to be a short term thing. Now, again, yes, Michael Saylor can tank Bitcoin. You can tank Giraffe. I don't
But there's
understand
also
the personal gain there, like, so I don't know why that would ever happen. But
ways that you minimize that. So like for example,
we'll
if
decentralize, right?
well, yeah, but like if let's pretend that Dunk is active here hosting and Dunk wants some liquidity. Obviously he can do whatever he wants, but if he was going to offload a bunch, like 20 Giraffe. Well, to me, a nice, clean, public way to do it is to say, our floor is at 7.5. I believe in the future. I'm going to list 20 Giraffe between 10 and 20 soul.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Publicly just announce it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Then if somebody gets pissed and they're like, well, a big voice is doing that, well, you shouldn't, because now we're decentralizing one of our bigger holders. And they did it in a way that if you buy the Giraffe right now, there's still some appreciation before their floor hits. They didn't come in and trash the floor.
Right. Right. He's
They
not
didn't flood all the
dropping
listings.
30 things. Yeah. 30 Giraffe on the floor and
Walls,
yeah,
creating walls.
creating a wall. Right. Exactly.
They looked at it and said, look, I want to get liquidity. I have a large quantity of Giraffe. I also respect that I'm a big voice, so I'm going to make announcements of a little bit of my moves.
Yeah. I think there's
I'm
nothing wrong
going
with that.
to
Yeah.
nothing. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with that then. I don't think there's anything at all wrong
Well,
with someone that
even
says,
what you did with, like, in school, like, hey, I'm gonna buy
yep,
like, would you buy like 5 or 10 or something like that,
oh,
and
I
then
bought 12
12.
and
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
still holding them all. Man, I fucking made bank.
Yeah,
I put
you've made
10
thousands
Solana.
then. Yeah, you've made
I put
thousands.
10 Solana in. I got 12 Giraffe for
Yeah.
10 Solana.
Okay, so yeah, so then you're all right. So you're like in like probably like 80 plus Solana territory at this point. So
Yeah, if I went and sold them, but I'm not going to because now I realize I can just put them at the Gary tree and they'll earn me
right,
a bunch of Gary coin.
sure, sure.
And
Yep.
my goal
But
is
the
that we
goal
get
was
big enough.
originally for you because this is way before Gary Tree. So like you were public about like, hey, I'm gonna
Yep,
sell these floor giraffe that I bought. So like that,
yeah,
and again, that just kind of goes to prove that point that all right, well, yeah, if you just sort of be transparent about, and this is something I've always really preached too, like it's really just transparency. As long as people are open and
yep,
transparent, especially a founder, I think it's like it's nothing. There's no panic at that point. It's only when things are done in the shadows that people start really,
yeah,
when there's like a hidden backroom council and people aren't knowing what's going on, and only little bits of information kind of come out, and then people are going to question that and say, well, am I getting played? Are they telling me this stuff so I'm their exit liquidity? That's when there's trouble. That's what creates the problems. Here we're
yeah.
very much in the open though.
Yeah, and that's, like I had somebody reach out to me and they're reputable and they said, we can verify your supply on CoinMarketCap and it's this much money.
Yeah,
And it's a fine investment, but it's not needed at the place that we're at in the journey today.
sure.
Right? Like, I mean, should we have our supply verified on CoinMarketCap? Well, I can't help it that they don't know how to read SolScan. It's verified there.
It's very easy to yeah, I was going to say
Like
it
It
it's
still
takes
says
two
the
there.
full
clicks.
supply, right?
Takes two
So like
clicks.
on CoinMarketCap, it still says like a billion or
Yeah,
something like that.
it says yeah
Yeah,
on CMC it has like the yeah
I think it's 100 million.
The
yeah,
hundred.
but
There's two numbers there. There's like a billion
the
and 100 million, and
self-reported
yeah,
yeah
self-reported.
yeah
the other thing I know though is once we get enough transaction volume, they'll update it regardless
that's right
because we're important enough.
that's right yep
So instead of spending thousands of dollars to pay someone that's going to bribe someone at CoinMarketCap to verify my supply, it'll take 24 hours. Right? Like I just don't value it. And uh, it's verified. You can look at it on SolScan. It's just what it is. I can't help it that
it's
CoinMarketCap makes it difficult. It's
it
just not an
just doesn't
expense that I care
matter.
about. Right?
Yeah,
It's
and
just
it
not an
just
I
doesn't
expense
mean,
I
you
care
could
matter.
just
about.
look at the supply. It also says the supply right there,
Yeah,
the actual
100% it
supply.
does.
So it's like it's right there on
Yeah, and we've given
CoinMarketCap.
them all the information. They just won't update it because they say they update at their
Because
discretion.
they want their bribe. Yeah,
Yep,
but
exactly. They want their bribe.
once you become like what they have a line, some I can't even remember. I remember looking into this though, and wherever it is when you cross their line, they just do it free.
Yep,
So that's it.
yep. They do it free because there's so much volume there and they need it.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's the plan that I've taken. It's like a lot of these coins you'll notice that they dump on once they get a Binance listing.
Right.
And it's
Right.
because they paid with their coins to go get the
Yep.
listings.
Yep. They give them a 20% supply of the coins, and then
And they
that's
use and they use market makers
yep.
in order
Market makers.
to get their volume high enough because you have to
Yep.
have a certain amount of volume and you have to have all these things in order to go get listed. I've seen all the proposals.
Well,
I
they
know what it
force you.
costs.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
force you. They force you to have a market maker. They force you to give 20, 30%. I mean, it changes based on
Yep.
certain coin conditions. And yeah, you have to have at least one market maker. You have to have this amount of volume. You have to give this supply. So, people will contribute, to kind of like bribe with the supply, and then they just dump on everybody. Oh, we're on Binance, dump. See
You
you later.
do until you don't, because there are multiple tokens that Binance and Coinbase have went and acquired.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch their
Correct.
wallets because they're
Correct.
doxed and they start acquiring tokens because they
Yep.
see that there's
They see
volume
it.
there.
Yeah.
So for me, rather than going out and rushing and creating an artificial pump and paying thousands of dollars to go get a Coinbase listing when we don't have enough public appeal yet to get Coinbase buyers to be buying Gary coin.
It would do nothing for us.
It
It
would
would
just be a
be an
it would be a
expense.
waste.
Yeah, it would just be an expense because a Coinbase buyer is going to say they'll get the little email thing that comes when there's a new listing, the little pop-up thing that gives 10 seconds of interest, and they'll go, Gary. Oh, okay, cool. There's a coin called Gary on here now. Well, all
Yep.
right. And that'll be
And some
that.
people will go buy it.
Some people will, yeah,
They're
sure. The
not going to get
gamblers
active,
will.
right? They're
Yeah.
not going to get active in our community or any of those things. So for me, I don't care about
Does
a
nothing.
Coinbase listing.
Does nothing.
It
Yeah, I
may give
agree.
you short-term price action.
For a day. Yeah.
Yep, for a day or a week or
Yeah.
something like that. But I don't care. I just don't care about that. So I would rather find another 500 or 1,000 people that want to use
Correct.
Stacker Agent than I would go find 50,000 people that will hold Gary Coin at Coinbase today that they don't know why they're holding it.
Right.
Is
Right.
there a point
Exactly.
Coinbase just will take a coin, or do you have? I haven't looked too much into to
Well,
listing on
Yeah,
all
they
these
Coinbase.
can.
major,
They
yeah,
can just
yeah,
market buy. They market
Yeah,
buy
so
exactly.
and they list
they'll
your coin.
that's what you want them to do eventually. You want them to get to the
Yes.
point where they're just market buying because they want it, because they want
Yeah,
the
Yes.
I mean,
access.
if we have if we had 30,000 users that were using Stacker Agent, then we would have millions of daily transactions.
Yeah. Millions.
Yeah,
Millions
like
of
your
daily
post this morning, right?
transactions.
Yeah.
Millions. Yeah.
Yeah, and when we have millions of daily transactions, that's millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of volume.
Mm-hmm.
So
What,
we're
what,
putting Gary Coin at the top of all of the Solana charts.
yes.
We are, because of our supply, we are greatly moving up in market cap fast because we don't have a big enough supply. So we're eating that quickly. And all of a sudden we have attention from outside sources. When
This is,
that happens, they will list us, or they
this,
won't, and that's okay because we don't need them to list us.
at that point, it doesn't matter, but this is the condition we really want to create. Because, like, here's the thing, Dunk. It'll be like this. We're going to be, I was saying this yesterday, we're going to be the number one, two, three, four by volume coin every day, especially once we have like Gary Tree up and running and it's banging on all 8 cylinders.
Yeah, especially with just
It,
all the buybacks.
it'll be exactly just
Mm.
from what Stacker will do. It'll produce enough volume to keep us in the top 10 every day. Now put it like this: if you're a Binance or a Coinbase exec, you work at crypto.com, are you going to really sit there and allow millions and millions of trading volume to not be on your platform every day? Fuck no. So you're going to go out, you're going to market by yeah, a million coins or whatever, whatever supply you and the board decide. And that'll of course have the short-term impact of us selling a million coins that day or whatever they decide, and now they'll list us because you're not going like if you're an executive, the obligation you have to your shareholders is to make money for the corporation. And if you're, again, it's why they all listed Pepe, right? Like these places, they're not meme coin places, but they all listed Pepe right away when Pepe was just going through the fucking roof the other year, right? Like
And we've got
I
to see where
remember,
the future goes because the
right.
future may not be centralized exchanges.
Well, that's true too. Yeah,
We
And
may
the
get
only
that's
away
real
from
purpose
those.
of them
yeah.
is onboard, like on ramps and off
Onboarding
ramps,
new people.
and
Yeah.
that's getting easier and easier in other
And
Well,
places.
we're literally a couple of clicks away from Apple and Android launching a native
yep.
wallet
Right.
or Phantom launching a native bank account in your wallet that lets you launch a virtual account and you just move your money.
Well,
We're
and some
not
of
far from
these,
that, and that might happen this year. And if
some
that
of
happens
these,
this year, then we won't need centralized exchanges anymore.
right. Especially as some of
Paychecks deposited
these
in
like
crypto, right? That would.
any of them though, but any one of these new on ramps that like they're already pretty good. The second they get easier, like yeah, I agree
I
with that.
moved
What's the point? What's
I
the
moved a
point?
couple $1,000s today in USDC,
Uh-huh.
and I submitted it. I used the Sphere ramp.
Okay. Sphere's great. It's
Yep,
so easy.
and
Yeah.
I submitted it at 8:30 this morning, and at 10:15 I had a text from Wells Fargo that told me that it was in my
Yep.
account,
There you go. Yeah.
and it cost me $5.
Wow. Yeah.
That was their fee to take USDC and get it to my bank account, and it took a little over 2 hours or right at 2 hours, and it cost me $5.
So in other words, less money actually than it would be if Gary, you said, "Hey Joe, I need you to wire me 20K." I send you
Yep.
20K. It's going to charge me 30 bucks to send the wire and you 15 bucks to get the wire.
Yep.
So it was less money to use Sphere and go to Wells than just like a normal fiat to fiat
And
peer to peer
Are
transaction.
you set up as
and
personal, Gary, or
even in
business?
That was personal.
Personal. Okay. So individual, I mean. Sorry.
and the same is even true for Coinbase. Like even if you were to there's been times that I've had to like move money from either my bank into Coinbase or vice versa. 5,000, 10,000 at a time, and they're fucking charging like $300 for that transaction.
They want you to get
And like
Coinbase One or wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Like,
and this was even before Coinbase One, fam. Like like it's just. But yeah, that $30 subscription for no fees and shit, like it's all a fucking gimmick. Like it's just,
Yep.
it's insane.
And the sphere ramp just works. It's easy. I went through their KYC process. That was a little clanky, but it worked. I've never had trouble getting my money to my account. It always comes fast.
which identity will you use, Joe?
Well, let's not talk about that in a recorded space.
And then, for the business, we use squads. So we migrated everything into squads. And squads has got just a hell of a good setup. We can set up limit orders and all this stuff. And I can even go into squads and I can set up my ability to move this into my bank account
With
and
squads,
with
wait,
squads.
okay, I haven't used squads yet. So,
Yeah, so
uh,
it's a business system. It's way more for
yeah,
business.
yeah.
But
And
I can come in and and I'm trying to see it now. I don't somewhere. But there's somewhere that I can go in and I can set up the ability to um send it to my bank account. I
right, where
just
you
don't remember
basically
exactly
it's
how.
a one click to kind of sell and then deposit, right?
Yeah. They've got
Yeah,
some stuff around there.
yeah, right.
So that's there. Um, there's a couple of other systems that are built like that too,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they work really well.
bottom line is it's getting super easy. So that is a great point to say like why even have the again, if we want decentralization, why do we even want any CXs anymore? We don't actually.
Yeah,
We don't want them. So, you know, whatever we can do to kind of do away with that, make things easier, cheaper, faster, and keep you like from having to KYC, keep your privacy nice and safe, then why even keep them? I think that's a freaking fantastic point actually. Um
yeah, and
and
I think it's where we're headed. I think we're going to get to points where we draw our own independent demand as a community. I think we will be at the point where we will have thousands of users buying Gary coin on a market buy every single day, because every transaction, when we fully go public with this, every transaction will, like, maybe at the beginning we'll bulk buy Gary coin, but when we fully go public, we'll just build it in and we'll route it that every transaction buys Gary and pays fees back to us in Gary coin.
quick
Right?
question quick
Yeah.
question for you, and then TCS, you get your hand up, we'll go to you. How do you think, so let's play that tape forward a little bit. We've abolished all CXs. Okay,
Mhm.
they just don't exist anymore. There's no need for them. How does that affect an up and coming um, ecosystem like a Gary Club? Like, how does that affect us when we don't have kind of a central point for newbies to find us? We just get noticed by sheer volume because there's a lot of volume. People notice us. Like, how does the word get spread to the new guy who just opened a wallet? How do you think that works or it impacts us?
Yeah, we have to market.
Right.
And if we're not marketing, then we're not growing. And our goal evolves if to a marketing goal.
Sure.
So, and that's what we're focused on today is marketing. Now, you don't have to market. There's a lot of ways to market, right? Like one of the ways that you could market if you wanted to market is with results. And we're going to
Sure.
build some automatic marketing that will work for you if you'd like to connect your X account that will market for you, where we'll share like daily P&Ls and stuff like that automatically for you to X, or big trades or big wins. And we'll have some configurations and stuff like that that you can set up that would let you kind of do this on your own if you wanted.
So
And
some of it
then,
will just be results speak for themselves.
yeah, and the other part of that is just like today, there's a lot of people that don't understand Bitcoin. So all of us have a duty to explain Bitcoin to the limits of our knowledge, right? Like,
I just did that for 2 hours this morning,
yep.
actually,
And
to a church member. Yeah.
we all have different knowledges. We all have different ways we're going to explain it. But that's how someone new learns about Bitcoin, is we
Yep.
talk about it.
Yep. Yep.
And that's the same thing that's going to happen here is you're going to talk about it. You know, you're going to be flying on the private jet and you're going to be at the FBO and someone's going to say, "Man, what do you do?" "Oh man, I'm into crypto." "Oh man, that you must have got in early." "No, I just have this agent that works for me every day." "You do? And it pays for your private jet?" "Yeah, I do." "How do I get one of those?" "Let's just go to Gary Club and set up your account. You can get started right now." "Okay." And that'll just be a conversation that thousands of people will have, not just Giraffe and not just the people that are here today, but thousands of people will have it.
Yep.
Because as soon as one person gets success, they're going to text their friend and say, "Yo, you got to try this." And once it's public and you don't have to buy the Giraffe and you don't have to buy Gary Coin, you just get in there and get started. Just process a trade.
That's
Yeah,
it.
let's
Yeah.
give me yeah, let me give that a shot. And then all of a sudden now there's a new wallet that's buying Gary Coin, because that wallet will buy Gary Coin with every single trade and pay some of their fees in Gary Coin. So it just keeps this domino effect going as we get louder and louder and louder. But then I'll be quiet and let TC talk.
Yeah. TC, what's up? If you're talking TC, you're still on mute, just to let you know. We can't hear you.
I was talking on mute.
I
Thank you.
figured.
What's up,
How's it
TV?
going? Sorry, I haven't been around for a couple of weeks. I've been having a bit of a mare. I was on site all week last week, and then my mum's had an operation on Monday, so that's why I was on site all week last week. Because all week this week, I'm at my mum's, cooking and doing all the things. She's got a really weird recovery thing she has to do. So she's got her head down and it's weird posturing. It's strange. But anyway, I had a question. What was my question? Yeah, you mentioned was it Spear
Sphere.
Yeah.
on
Sphere.
on Mount Puff? Yeah, I haven't heard of that. Is that just US?
It's spherepay.co.
Spearpay.co. So it's not banned here or anything. I've literally heard no one else mention it apart from in this room. So I just wondered.
I've heard it a couple
I
places.
know
Yeah,
there's something in Europe. Garrett.
it's popular. Like this is very popular. This
Mm,
is
yeah, strange.
investors. So like Raj and Toli are both investors in this.
Okay. I have a look.
So it's
Spearpay.co.
it's they've got an X account, but it's sphere like a circle, like a
Oh,
spherical.
Sphere. That's.
Yes.
I was thinking spear.
No,
Spear.
so like sphere, like
Yeah,
SPHERE
got it.
pay.co. I
That's.
don't know if it works where you are because there's weird laws everywhere, and you are one of the places that has weird laws.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm
Have
not
a
sure
look.
that it
Now I
works
can.
everywhere,
Okay.
but
That.
I do know that it does work.
Now I know what you're saying. I'll get somewhere. That's me being deaf.
And
Yeah,
also me
I
not
think
knowing how to speak English either. I hear that I pronounce things weird sometimes, so could have just been the way I was pronouncing things.
No, it's pretty.
in
It's
in,
pretty close. Sphere and spear. Yeah, same.
Well,
in TC,
I'm drunk all the time, so I
if you're
slur a lot of words.
TC, if you're in
Go ahead.
our giraffe chat, the palm tree giraffe chart chat, I went ahead and I dropped what I believe to be their X account is sphere_labs here on X, and you have the
Awesome.
all their links on their page there, so you can check out our chat in the back chat.
Thanks, honey. I'll have a look. Yeah, been out the loop a couple of weeks. I've been dipping in and out, and just like, you know, I'm still around. I'm just not at certain times. So
All good. Glad you're
Well,
with
I hope
us.
everything is yeah, glad you're with us, and I hope everything is working out well with your mom and stuff. So keeping her in prayers and wishing her a speedy and healthy recovery.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it was a super successful operation. She just got this whole guide about the posturing she's got to do, and it's really worth doing it and doing it properly, because the percentage of successful outcome massively changes if you do it. So it's yeah, it's a bit weird. So I've been cooking lunches, dinners, just making cups of tea, cleaning the house, just I'm working from her house all week. I had to get special permission to fucking work from there rather than my own house. I don't know what the difference is, but there we go. It's all good. Thanks, JJ.
This is why we need to get you to fire your boss and only have a stacker agent working for you. No more asking bosses, can I work here instead of working over there? I'm very familiar with this, by the way, with Andrea's job. You know, she has a job where she works at home. You know, she's a computer programmer. Everything can be done from anywhere in the world. And one time when we went somewhere out of state, and I guess they were able to see that the IP address wasn't in California. So there was like a big to do because she wasn't in California. And I guess, you know, it affects some kind of labor law or something. So she's like, oh, yeah, you can't work when you're, you know, not in a California IP. And it's like, what, you know, just stupid, just so stupid, you know? And
You say that, but people are dumb,
yeah,
and
you're very true.
there are people
Life
in
has taught me one thing.
high end banking jobs over here setting up their computers on public networks in like the pub to
Right.
work, and
Right.
it's like, okay, that's not okay.
Though that's
You
kind
know,
of taking advantage. Yeah. Yeah.
people like secure network anybody.
Right.
So you know, some people just don't have the common sense, and unfortunately that sucks for everybody then, but there
Very
we go.
true. Yeah. Very true.
Just found something that was really annoying with squads. My subscription expired because I just tried it out for a month and it
Oh,
didn't
shoot.
actually set it up, which was fine. So I went to pay because you pay with USDC, and it made me put it into their account, their wallet to pay, which is fine. And then I went to approve the payment, and it's a multi-sig wallet, and I can't approve the payment unless the other people sign the thing. So
Oh,
I have to
right.
have
You have to have your
more
other
signatures.
signers.
I have
Yeah.
to have more signatures to renew my subscription, which is a bit of a pain in my tail, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is kind of just part of that journey. But no, I mean, I just think we're just going to keep evolving, and I don't really know where that goes. In all honesty, you know, I know that for us, finding 30, 40, 50, 60, 100,000 people that believe that we can stop trading time for money and believe that we can do that. Um, our roadmap is really just helping the first couple people do it, you know,
Yeah.
and figuring
Yeah.
out how we do that and making sure, because there's a certain amount of capital you're going to have to get there, right? Or a certain amount of discipline if you start with a smaller amount of capital.
Yep.
You have to be risky a little bit because your capital is going to get used, and you can't be risk adverse. You know, you can't just set on your capital because then it's not growing, it's just sitting there.
Yep.
So all of these things have to happen, but as we start onboarding, you know, right now I would say there's roughly 50,000 or so day traders on Solana, just my estimations. So a number of those will give us a shot because we're going to give them an easier solution. And everybody says I hate locking into charts. I don't know anyone that likes to just, I mean, they like the thrill of the win,
Sure.
but they don't like the staring at the charts all day.
Correct.
They love making the money and they love the thrill of the win. They love all of those things. It's like people love to go places, but they didn't know they loved a car until they got to try a car. They just liked their horse.
Right.
And if
right,
you would have asked all those people what they wanted back then, they would have wanted a faster horse or something like that. They wouldn't have never told you they wanted a car because they didn't even know a car existed.
right, right. Very true. And, kind of along that same vein, you saying, well, people, they like the thrill of the win. They definitely don't like sitting in front of a computer for 14 hours. Or if I'm sure we can find an exception to that rule. So I'm obviously generalizing, but by and large, of course, most people don't like that. And I look, even if there is only 50,000, look, let's cut it in half. Let's say there's, or even more, let's say there's only 10,000 people. I'm certain out of 10,000 people, we can find the initial 50 to 100, which is what it would take for, you know, that to really kick off the chain reaction. Like again, we only
Oh, we have
have,
those. We have hundreds of people right now that are
right,
ready to use the app.
right. Well,
And
and
I mean, hundreds of people. That doesn't mean that hundreds of people are ready to use it though that have enough liquidity to
I
get
see
them
what
out
you
of their
mean. I
job
see.
fast.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, sure,
Because
sure.
if you start out with if you start out with one soul
Yeah, right.
and
It's
you
going to
want to
take a
get
while.
to a point, right, it's going to take a while and you're going to have discipline and you're going to have some big ass balls. I don't
Yep.
give a damn if you're a male or a female because if we're trying to get a 10% gain on that last day, whenever you're at like a
Woo-hoo-hoo. You're
$910,000
going to, yeah, exactly.
and we've
Yeah.
got to we're deploying $800,000 worth of
Yep.
capital for you that day.
Right.
You've got to be confident in that. And
That's
hopefully
right.
you are, and hopefully you're ready and you're there. But some people are going to get scared. Like I've already had people tell me, like, Gary, I'm going to grow it to this. And then when it gets to this amount, I'm just going to just let it run. And I'm going to just keep taking my profits out every single day. And that will give me a nice solid income. And that's fine.
Sure. Yeah.
So we have to get to the point though that we've helped people quit their jobs.
Yes. Yes.
We have
Well,
to get to the point where Joe goes and jumps on a private jet and goes down to Cabo for the weekend and says he was able to do it and he publicly states this and it's true, right? It's not public bullshit because I
right,
could get somebody to say whatever I wanted them to say. But it's true, factual that Stacker agent paid for his private jet down to Cabo for the weekend.
right, right. True.
We've got to get somebody like Adrian going out to buy his wife or going out with his wife. I don't know if he bought it for her, but going out with his wife to get a new van. And we've got to get Adrian posting and saying, "Look, Stacker agent bought this van for me." First step will be Stacker agent pays my payment every month. Second step is Stacker agent paid cash for it. I was able to make enough money. Danny shared a story on Adrian's stream this morning of going and taking his wife to buy a ring, and he cashed out $19,000 in crypto to buy her a ring.
Uh-huh.
Well, we've got to get to the point where Danny's able to say, Stacker agent made me 19,000, and
Yes.
JJ's able to say, Stacker agent paid for my Disney vacation.
Yeah, bro.
And
One
when
toast to Disney.
and when people start saying that, and when they tell that story, that's when it becomes real for a lot of people.
Yes. Yes. Well, and it'll build. Here's the thing. People will, that example that you were going with there, because I'm always doing the 10% example, I think will build enough conviction in those first couple days when 10% of your first Solana is, $10, $20. And then 3 months later, when it's deploying 800 grand instead of $80, people will at least have enough time to acclimate to that, and build trust over the long run.
Very few people will let it get there.
You think so?
I do. I think what will happen is most people have some money trauma, and most people have never seen amounts of money that are large,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
will block their own blessings
Because they'll get to 50 grand and say, oh shit, I've
because
never
they'll
seen
get
that
scared
before. Yeah.
and
Right.
they'll start cashing it out,
Right.
and then they won't be swinging a big enough bag.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do need a high-end coffee machine because that's the only thing I'll miss when I quit my job.
You could
TC,
definitely
I'm
do
gonna
that.
buy you one. I'm gonna buy you one, TC.
And
Prob-
there'll just be people that will miss it though because they'll just fumble the bag. They'll pull their money out too quick.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Sure, sure.
The market will tank. Solana will take a dip, and they will look at it and say, but if I cash out today, I can sell my Solana at this price.
Right.
And what they will end up with is not enough Solana tokens to play the game the way they were playing the game.
Right.
And they won't be able, they'll just have to build up again. But
And then they'll end up with 50 grand instead of 5 million. Right.
exactly
Yeah.
right. And then
Yeah.
look, it gives them a great weekend trip. They can go to Disney. They can do a lot of great things with that.
Yeah.
But
But you're
it's
not
not
quitting your
gonna,
job. Yeah.
yeah,
You're not quitting your
you're not
job.
quitting your job with confidence.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, some of us have to be able to do that. Some of us are going to run multiple stacker agents with different goals. I think it's a really smart idea. I
Oh,
think it's
I
a really
am. I
smart
am.
idea
I plan on it. Yeah.
to launch a stacker agent with the goal of making, like if you look at what your monthly expenses are, and I'm just going to make up a number. I have no clue what this is, but let's say you need $500 a day to get and pay all your monthly bills. What would that be? That'd be like what, 15 grand a month?
Yeah, something like that,
Roughly,
around
yeah.
there. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's say that's the number. It could be more, it could be less. I don't care, but let's just pretend. So if you need $500 a day, I think it's a really smart idea to find a stacker agent and configure it and build it. Maybe a little more conservative that can get you $500 a day, right? Because that starts to build a safety net for you.
Well, this is exact. So, I was talking about this same thing after you left yesterday. I was saying, like so I have a number that I basically got myself like, okay, I need to hit this number for bill reasons, ego reasons, like all these things, which is basically $821. If you make $821 a day, then it puts you into like the top 1% of income earners. I think it gets you like a little over 600 grand a year, something like that. Anyways, something like that. But
You're
that's
not
the
that.
number.
You're only making 300 grand
Or
there.
300, or maybe it
You
was
live in you live in
1600.
California. You can't
Anyway,
even. I mean, fuck, you
I
can't even go to dinner at
can't even go
Applebee's
to
on
dinner
that.
with that. Anyway, what I had worked out was to get like 680 grand a year. I thought it was 821. Maybe it was double that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever the X is. I'm just
You
saying
need
I was 18.
$1,863 a day.
There was 1863. Okay. So I needed the one in front. Anyway, so that was what I had like set my liquidity pools up to hit, was that number, that 1863. And I'm like, it would take a couple stacker agents to, 5, 6 stackers setting on different, um, have one that's super aggressive, one that's not aggressive, one that's like, hey, I'm going to configure this thing to make a few, if I can just get this to $300 a day and set 3 of those, and then 3 more where they're radically aggressive to hit that number and not really care what happens in the market. By and large, the market's going to swing. There's going to be months where it's up and months where it's down and months where it's sideways and everything else in between. There's going to be a way to configure things to make sure you're always landing at that number. I'm certain of it. You're going to need little tweaks, and the first month, whatever, probably mess things up. And the second month, I'll have to tweak this and tweak that. But sooner or later, I'll get it figured out to where it's hitting that number on average, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And then you don't need to do these other things like liquidity pools or, um, little micro trades or anything. You just literally live on that with your 5 stackers, your 7 stackers, or however many you have running to make that. And you
And
just go live.
it'll get to the point where you only need one.
Yeah, right. Well, over time, sure, exactly.
And
Over
that
time, one will be your whole portfolio manager,
Yeah, and
right?
it will allocate your capital to different skills and different actions and all of that stuff. It'll have some smart or way smarter capital allocation strategies built in.
So that the point I was making is like, no matter, because some people are going to be able to do 4, some are going to be able to do 20, based on whatever. Like for me, I'm, my goal has always been run a few, again, run few that are just like wildly aggressive, and a few that are, very conservative, and figure out where that middle point is, to where it's averaging out, to where I'm making hitting the certain daily number that I want to hit on average. And I don't think
Do you need a nipple for your bottle too?
I do.
Because that just sounds. I mean, it just sounds like a pussy response. Like
Does
I don't want to make $1,800 and some dollars
no,
a day, and
that's
it's not
my
even.
baseline.
It's
That's my
not even. Fuck
baseline.
no. I want to have like 100 Solana on max extract, doubling and
Well,
tripling it
well, of
4
course,
times a day.
those are my like other wallets. I'm talking about having a baseline of a couple stackers that just make sure everything's covered.
I
Just make
think
sure
I'm
your life
probably
is
the.
covered.
I think I'm probably the opposite. I think I'm the guy that wants to have like I want my stacker agent to be deploying 10,000 Solana a day.
Oh Jesus.
And
With no baseline of coverage, just going for it, just
well,
running for it.
if it's doing that and it's generating the returns the way that I want them to, then I'm making at a minimum 1,500 Solana a day.
If we're I mean if we're there, then why the
So
fuck
if I'm
not?
making 1,500 Solana a day, that's I'm okay with that. I mean, that's $187,500 a day. And that's just Gary running a stacker. That
My-
doesn't count everything else. But
well, exactly.
that's where my head's at is how much like can I build trust in the tech, which I know is a yes for me because I highly trust tech. So just me as a human, I believe in automation. I believe what we're building. I believe that what we're doing is possible because I know you could do it manually. And I've been building automation systems for fucking years, like tens, 20s of years. Like automation systems, some of the most advanced funnels in the world. So I know that. I know that automation can handle the task that I have in front of me. And I believe in that. So then
Hmm.
it's just a matter of watching it work, which I'll build confidence. I'm an early adopter, just me as a human, my psychology, and I'll build confidence really fast. And then I will full port as much Solana as I can in there, and I will do everything I can to keep as much in there as possible. And I'll be the biggest earner on the chain every day. That's okay. Like I want to see when you go to any of these websites and you pull up the number one earner, I want it to be my personal wallet every day. Every day. Not I don't want to miss a day. I want Giraffe to be at the very top of the NFT charts. I want Gary Coin to be at the very top of every based on our supply and where we're at market cap wise at the top of everything we can get to. Gary Coin right now, we are the number one token in 2025. There's not a single token that has outperformed us
Nothing
in
comes close.
2025.
Yeah, nothing comes close.
There's not one. I'm not Bitcoin, not Solana, not
Yep,
Ethereum, not
nothing,
XRP,
nothing.
not one single token.
Definitely not Ethereum.
Yeah, there's not one single token that outperforms what we built. Now, they could have launched this year and they may have outperformed us for a second. But when you look at a token that's coming from 2023 or 2022 or even early 2024 that's been out for a little bit, none of them have come close to doing what we've done. That's what I want daily for us. So I want my wallet at the top of the charts. Number one. I mean, look, I want when you go to Bird Eye and it shows you the top traders. I showed every morning on my stream. I want every one of those wallets to be a stacker wallet. Every single one of them. I want people to say, how the fuck do I do it? How do I get there? And then I want people to compete with me to make us better. I want other people to go launch other wallets and other agents and shit like that to make us better. Right? I want
You're
my
so
wallet on top.
competitive.
I am. And look, if
Well,
my
it's what's
wallet's on
ultimately
top,
going to drive the success is the competitive nature here. We're going to need it because we're going to start off being
Hmm.
good, but someone else is going to come along and they'll figure a little something out. I mean, that's going to be what drives us. Is that
Competition drives
yeah,
innovation.
yeah, absolutely.
it's what Titan did with Jupiter. I like Titan
Yeah,
better than
exactly. Yeah,
Jupiter. I
exactly.
think they're
Yeah,
going to put Jupiter on their toes.
yeah.
Going to make Jupiter develop. I'm afraid that Jupiter's going to end up like Legos.
Why do you
You
think
know,
that? Because their coin isn't
Legos.
growing enough?
No, Legos almost went broke.
Hmm.
No, I
Long.
didn't.
It's
I
been a
didn't
minute,
know that. I didn't know.
but yeah,
Yep. So when they were Legos, everybody was building with Legos and everybody loved Legos.
Right.
And then they decided to expand the brand. And they started doing socks and t-shirts and cafes and theme parks and all this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And they were weeks away from bankruptcy.
I had no clue of that. Yeah.
They've stabilized. But I'm afraid that Jupe is going to become that because now they're trying to be everything to everyone on Solana. and what their core product is, they're getting their ass beat on because Titan beats them, and
I
the new
see.
Camino swap beats them. So they took their core product, and now they're getting beat because they've tried to become everything else.
Yeah,
For
they're not
Solana.
focusing on. Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
They went and chased the meme market, so they developed these pro platforms and this advanced trading platforms. They went and chased the creator market, so they went out and bought Drip. They went and chased, like they tried to launch 8 Pro and that failed, so they rolled it in. So they're trying to be almost like a Google, and I don't think that wins in Web3. I would rather go to Titan to swap. As a marketer, I'm concerned about our rankings and stuff on Jupe because Jupe gets a lot of traffic. They're the top revenue producing protocol, or one of the top revenue producing protocols. So as a marketer for Gary
Well,
Coin,
they're always in the top 10. They're always in trending. They're always somewhere at the top,
well,
if
I'm
not
talking their
number one.
protocol, not their
Oh,
token.
right. Gotcha.
No, I'm talking like when you look at the fees of their protocol, which
Understood.
tells me
Yeah.
how many people are using it.
Yeah. Understood.
On Solana today, Jupe is number 2. Pump is number 1.
Right.
They're competing for. I mean, look, and I'm sitting here. I'm not making $2.8 million today in fees. So, I mean, maybe they're going to end up right, and maybe they're doing everything right. I just don't think that will end well. I think that they're going to lose market share, and I think as they lose market share, it will shift.
Well, I think it's a bad idea to try to. Again, I think it goes against the grain of the culture of the space, trying to be everything to everybody. I don't think trying to centralize things in a decentralized world is the right move. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong about more things than I'm right about, so I could be very wrong on that. But it seems like it doesn't feel right to me. I think you're right as far as it would probably be better to focus on the one thing you were good at, as opposed to trying to be everything to everybody.
Yeah, and
Um,
they worked out the perps, and I think perps is fine. We needed a
yeah,
solid decentralized perp, and I think they did a good job there.
Solana really needed that. Yeah,
Yep, there's
sure.
other fine perps, but Jupe just made it easy.
Yep.
You didn't have to create an account. You could just connect your wallet, and you could transact, and they've done a lot of great things, and they've been amazing for the Solana ecosystem. But they're spreading themselves a little thin now, and I
Well,
think it's gonna catch up with them.
getting to your comment of you're not making 2.8 million in fees. Um, what I'm not holding you to this at all. I understand this is a total guesstimate. When would you guess Gary Tree again? Just guess that is like live and up a year from now, year and a half.
Hmm. It needs to be
Like where it's generating fees and you know what I mean, where
well.
there's users and
It needs to be before we can go public
right.
because I
Well,
have
yeah, for
to,
sure.
or I have to come up with a band-aid until we go public, and it needs to be there before then. So I've got it all worked out. I want to go public as quickly as possible. So we have we have a full team working on this, like
So
6 full-time developers working on this tech right now.
so
So
hypothetically, say a year. Just say a year. Hypothetically, maybe
I
it's
mean,
even sooner than that.
it could be a year.
Okay.
In theory, it could be sooner. Um, if we hit hurdles and walls and roadblocks, it could be longer.
Right. Okay.
If I
So
had if I had everything worked out smooth the way I think it could work out, then that would be launched before this year was over.
that would be fucking incredible.
Now I can't tell you like
Sure.
that's if it's. I mean, Joe, you build enough houses, you know
Uh,
when you look at it and you say,
Like I said, this is totally, yeah.
"Yep,
I mean, it never works out that way. I say, hey, it will be done in 9 months, guys. 18 months later, I'm telling them it's going to be 6 more months.
yeah," because
So
weather happened or a fire
whether
or
people
earthquake, and
quit, yeah, exactly. Just shit happens, life happens.
and right
So,
now we have a hurdle we're trying to get over that we've been stuck on for a minute. So if we get stuck on another hurdle, then that will delay everything.
so
But
the reason I mention it though is to say this: just looking at organic growth of people who come to Solana, like how much Solana has grown in between when
yeah,
I first got a Phantom wallet in 2021 to the spring of 2025, how much this blockchain has grown, and just taking whatever that multiplier is and applying that to us. I bring this up to kind of the comment you're saying, well, we're not making 2.8 million yet. Well, I think whenever it is that we go public, whether that's a year from now or 18 months or 24 months or 3 years, whenever it is, the amount of growth that is just going, like the amount of people who have moved on to Solana. So the other day you're saying there's 8,000 Photon users. Well, in 2 years there'll be 24,000 Photon users. Let's just say,
Yeah.
I'm basing that on nothing, but let's just say. So by the time we're up and running and people are hearing about this amazing technology, they've seen doxed wallets. They not only that, they've seen these guys every day. They're the top 10 wallets on all of the protocols. Like, holy shit, these stacker people, what the fuck? Who are these guys? And now it's open to the public. You can't tell me that that it's going to take us even more. We'll be live 3 months before we have thousands of users. And if you just take like the other day I just said with just the 7,500 users and like 500 transactions, I had like worked out to like $3.8 million. It's like ridiculous with just using just Giraffe and stackers, and assuming that you're going to run 500 transactions per Giraffe per stacker per day, which is probably going to be a lot more than that, I'd imagine. On
Yeah,
a
and I mean, some of these are going to get really, really big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like really, really big.
Yeah, like the
So
top accounts, they're going to spend so much volume,
right.
like that. It's big.
Well, like just like think about, like, just for me, like what I plan on having in my, like, not my little baseline bags, but in my Giraffe that are swinging for the fences. I'm gonna put hundreds of Solana in there.
I mean,
So
Joe, I think that we will have Giraffe paying us $10,000 a day in fees.
th-
A single
that's
giraffe paying $10,000 for 1 day in fees.
I can easily see that happening. Easily.
And that's
This
just
is where
one
I'm
giraffe.
going with it.
That's one
Yeah,
account. And it's not just a
one.
giraffe, it could be just one other account. If you have 100,000 in there and we can turn it like 8 times, and I think we can flip it at least 8 times a day, then that's $10,000 in 1 day in fees.
For one account, exactly. For one
And
account. And
right,
and how
and you
many will
think
get there over time too? That's the thing. Because
a
there'll
lot
be a
will.
bunch of accounts that get there, even the ones
Because
that start with a
usually what
hundred
happens,
bucks.
yeah, because usually what happens, and like if you go do some research on Starbucks, you'll learn that they have a lot of money sitting on Starbucks cards. And
Right,
usually
right.
what happens is people leave a little bit of money and they abandon it. So we leave what we would call dust in different places. So you may put a soul in and you may end up with like 0.05, and you just leave it there because you just move on and you get bored, or whatever. Like I just went and created an account at Axiom. Right. So,
Okay. Yep.
do I fund that? Probably put a Solana or two in there and leave a little bit sitting there. Well, if I don't go back and click any buttons, then I'm not spending any money. Well, we're building the tech that once you set it up, you can't click any manual buttons.
Yeah,
There's
right.
no
It's
manual
just
buttons to click.
it goes to
So
work.
either
Yeah.
either you're going to have your whole deposit sitting there and never spend a dime, or you're going to activate your agent to go work for you.
Right.
And the
Right.
moment you activate your agent, until you turn it off, it will continue running. So we're building the capital allocation strategies that it never goes to zero. You'll never get there because it's all percentage based. And
Yeah,
we have
sure.
reserves and we have capital built. You may get to your reserve point, right? And we may have a reserve point that says we'll never go below 10%. So you'll always log in and see a little bit of money there. But you may get to a reserve point, but you'll never, ever, ever run out of money and go to zero.
Right. Right.
And we wouldn't take risky enough trades, especially as we progress. It's going to happen. Like somebody's going to put one Solana in, they're going to configure it wrong, and we're going to go to zero. We're going to learn, and we're going to say, okay, now we need to put this in that says we're not willing to take this risky of a trade if we have this little of capital.
Right. If we're under this tier, sure, sure. Yeah.
Right. And we'll just build
Yeah.
new parameters, and we'll build safety nets and stuff like that. So they never go dead. They never go empty. And if they don't go dry, then we're just going to keep spending for them. So you could show up a year later and have way more money than you started with. And we will be collecting fees from you for that whole year. Because we'll be trading with your capital until you tell us to stop.
That's exactly how I'm going to get my family to do this, because I know for a fact that not one of them would ever follow through. I know for a fact. So it's like this is like the only way that I'm going to ever get them to do this. Like the only
Yep.
way, because like it has to be automatic. And like I think that that's going to open up so many doors for so many people personally. Like what's up, JJ?
Hey, so I wanted to share something right quick. I know we've kind of taken a bunch of turns since then, but I pulled up. We were talking about 10% a day and the compound interest and letting it ride, and MFers taking the full 50,000 and not letting it mature to 50 million and all that. But I pulled up a quick daily compound interest calculator, right? And if you was to start off with $130, roughly the cost of a Solana right now, let's say we earn 12% daily interest, and we let it run for 120 days. In 120 days, you will have over $100 million. Uh, am I doing that right? No, that's not right. That's not right. Um, no, I did it at 12% investment value. Yeah. And so, no, this is the wrong calculator. What I'm trying to get at is that there are a couple ways to play it, right? Like you don't, if, all right, so if you only have one Solana and you need money capital to tap into for day to day life, you don't necessarily have to reinvest that 100% and live off of some of that earnings, right? So when I was looking at the calculator earlier, it was like, in that 120 days, you'll get like $12 million. But if you were to take, instead of reinvesting the full 12% over and over, day over day over, let's say you take out 5%, you're able to make like $500,000 in 120 days, just taking 5%, and still have couple $1 million in the bank when it's all said and done, right? So all that to say, there's different levels to this. There's different games to play, and I just wanted to touch on the comment that Gary said that a lot of us have money trauma. I grew up in a very scarcity mindset when it came with money, and I believe that's true for a lot of people. At least people that I come in contact with. Maybe I just need new friends. But all that to say, like you can still take out 1, 2, 3% and allocate that while everything else is running, right? Like, so for me, looking at this, I already have an eye open. I'm like, holy shit! Like, if I earn 12% daily interest, you know. I can take 1% and go buy Bitcoin and start working on my wealth reserve that way. I can take 1% and go ahead and buy, Gary coin for my own personal bag, right? And so on and so forth. And 1%, when it first starts, may only be $2 or $3, but when you're turning in tens of thousands of dollars, like that really starts to add up. So I really implore people. I think, at least for me, I spend some time thinking about being a good steward of money, and what do I plan to do, and all of this stuff. The one sold to Disney challenge, and everything. And I think it's important that it's good to dream, it's good to manifest, it's good to visualize, but at the same time, like be smart about it. Like, go ahead, everybody, pull up a compound interest calculator. Go ahead and play with the numbers. Play with realistically what you're comfortable to invest in. Is it one Solana? Is it 10 Solana? Is it 20 Solana? You do an interest rate of like 10% minimum. I think, Joe, you've been really consistent with that, just saying 10% conservatively daily, and start like playing with the numbers, toggling with the buttons, and seeing like what does that look like if you were to be all money in, no money out. What would the bottom line look like? Or if you were to go ahead and do a 3% withdrawal daily, like what does that look like? Or you fuck around and look at the whole table and say, all right, I really don't want to touch anything until I know that I'm clearing $10,000. So that may be day 24 or something like that, instead of starting from day one. So there's a lot here, and I think it's super fun, and I love having these kind of conversations, because like I want all Giraffe to win, and I think we need to have these conversations about smart money, at least planting the seed, because Like I already know there's MFers in the audience right now that they see 130 turn to $60,000 their annual salary. I mean, they're gonna potentially not make the best decisions if they don't have the right plan in place. So just wanted to share that.
Which, by the way, it's okay if people do that. People can do whatever they want. So if they want to sell, they can sell. It's all right. No one here is gonna tell you you can't do that, but you shouldn't block your blessings. Just gonna leave it at that. What's up, boy? Sell.
What's
What's
up,
up?
Giraffe fam? Sitting here in a chair, getting my last two dreads cleaned up for my maintenance. This shit is painful, Doug.
Dreadlock,
Holy
That's
man.
why
moly,
I don't have dreadlocks, man.
bro!
That's the one reason.
This shit
That's why I got rid of
this shit
mine.
Yeah.
is this shit is no joke. I made them a dreadlock song for their brand here. As my two locticians are sitting here, father daughter sitting here listening to you guys chat it up about the giraffes and what's coming and how it's going to change the world. So I'm sure they're probably going, "What in the heck is happening right now?" But you guys have talked a lot about this money and what people are going to do with it, and I think most people don't realize how much of a subconscious thing this is for them, and in those limiting beliefs and that programming. And the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker,
Oh,
which was a client of Gary's. I'm just going to say that
dude,
before
you know what? I
Gary
found
says
that
it,
out.
because
I found that out, and I read that book when I was 18, by the way. And
that is a
it's an
life-changing book.
amazing book. It's an
A
amazing book.
life-changing.
Yes.
You guys got to read that book, because you will give that money away and self-sabotage yourself. Look at the people that win the lottery. I mean, some of the money you guys are dropping, the amounts of money you guys are talking about, is like lottery level winnings, and within 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months, a year, these people have given it all away. In fact, I had a client in 2005 when I was in the car business. They came to them a lot. They had won the lottery, and they came that day, and I think they had won like a 30, $40 million lottery. They bought 8 cars in one day. And I ended up bumping
Oh,
into them
man.
like 2 or 3 years later,
Broke.
and they had blown through
Yeah.
all of that money, gone. They bought a brand new Camaro and a brand new Corvette and a brand new truck and a brand new SUV, and they brought their kids' cars, and like 8 brand new cars they all bought at full price, full pop, no discounts, no nothing. Dang it.
Why do
Sorry, I
you
got a
think
call.
there's so many Pirates of the Caribbean movie, dude? Because Johnny D blew through 600 M's, player.
That's why
Oh
he
my
came
God.
back
Hundo.
for the next one after saying that he was like, I'm done with that
That
franchise. Write me out. And
that's
then,
right.
hey,
That's
Dan, you need
exactly
another
right.
one. Just one more, just to get me over the
So
hump.
what people should be doing, I keep thinking about during these calls, like what should be people doing now, between now and the time this comes out? Their whole focus is obviously stacking skills, as I'm always going to be preaching that, but more importantly is getting rid of those limiting beliefs, getting a counselor, getting a therapist, getting a mentor, getting a coach. Like, they need to be investing into themselves, so that when that money comes, they know how to properly use it. Financial literacy is very, very undervalued in our society, and they should be preparing how to take care of their money they have now, so that when they do have this money coming in, they can actually be prepared for it. Because I think a lot of people are just going to blow it, and we're going to see a lot of wasted opportunities. And like my mission, I'm going to be giving 80% of it away and keeping 20, because that's just the philosophy that I have for myself. But live on 20 and give 80. And I'm at that place now where everything that I make, like, that's what I'm making now, is currently what I live on. But every dollar I make over and above this, my goal is to donate and to give for youth and all the different stuff that I'm doing. So that's my way to block myself from being stupid and making dumb decisions. So I'm sure I'll make from time to time still, where no one's perfect. But I really want to just encourage everybody that's listening to this, that's foaming at the mouth at these dollars that JJ and Gary and Joe are dropping. It's like, this is great, but if you lose it all in 6 months, 12 months, and you're back at getting a job again, like, what was it all worth?
Yep.
So just want to encourage everybody to just continue to sharpen their own axe, sharpen their skills, and continue to learn how to really manage their
Boy,
money.
sell. Boy,
Somebody
sell.
said this yesterday. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were wrapping up. I wanted to
No,
tell you
somebody
something.
just said this yesterday. They were like, money in, money out, and don't make stupid decisions. Like, spend more than you, or spend less than you make, and don't make stupid decisions. And it was funny because it was such a simple truth. But most people, they don't make smart decisions. They make very emotional decisions. So if you're in a place of like heightened excitement, that is not the time for you to be making a hard financial choice. And if you have a big situation happening in your life, a big crisis, a big change, a job loss right now, it's also not the time to be making huge choices. Give yourself some time to come down from that and make a decision when you're thinking logically, not emotionally.
Yeah, I love what you're saying, dude. I just wanted to say that book, I can't stress it enough for people to read that book. I've given that book to like probably 4 or 5 people. I don't know if they've read it or not, but I was blown away like last month or something when Gary said that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, this guy T. Harv Eckert was my client." I was like, I was so excited because I was like, I read that book when I was 18, and like I read that because I'm totally one of these people JJ's talking about, where like my relationship with money, the way I grew up, was not a healthy one, and
Same.
I've learned, like, and again, like it's not like I read that book and just made perfect decisions for the rest of my life. It's been a learning process. I've lost a couple fortunes along the way and had to, re-earn them. And, so I've definitely given away plenty of money being a fool. But, I'd like to think I'm smarter now. I've been able to, retire in my mid 30s and live a life that is great. And now I'm going to do even better with Stacker Agent. But all that aside, like we don't learn shit in school or in society. Like we learn to be like cogs and to spend what we make and need to be like glued to a job that if we miss a day we're totally fucked. So I'll just say like that book alone, more than anything else I've ever read, really stuck with me and just taught me how to be super, super accountable for all my actions, like extreme accountability. Don't blame, don't have a victim mentality, like none of that. Be very accountable, and then just like learning how we really do learn how, like at a young age, like we're trained to basically give away everything we earn. And like it was just so, it was really, really like hair raising to me to find out that Gary, that was one of your clients. It's like, wow, what a small world, but just crazy too. Cause there's probably few books that have impacted my life more than that book. So I really hope everyone here, if they haven't read that, they go and read it. Cause it really is. It's a banger. That one is a banger.
Yeah, I think that's what Adrian said and what you're talking about. I think are both like really good things to do. Like study money and deal with that emotional stuff that you have. But the other thing is depending on where you're at in the release cycle. So there's probably 3 to 4 phases of that release cycle. Couple people are going to get in like real early for they have a stacker in their wallet, they create content, they'll get in real early. Then we've got the 50 stackers. So if that's you, right, and you're in that release schedule, then you're going to have a different strategy and a different plan today. If you're a giraffe, you're still probably maybe 2 to 3 months out, right? So you've got some time. If you're not a giraffe and if you're sitting here and you're listening to us and you've got Gary coin in your wallet and giraffe are out of reach because they're like, $900 or whatever, well, then you might have 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 months, right, before you get to use Stacker Agent. So there's figuring out where you're at in that cycle. And then if you're a giraffe, what I would try to do now is try to find a way to stack up some extra cash so you can power the engine. Because if you start with a little bit of gas, you're only going to go so far. You're not going to get so excited. Very much the same way if you ever go gamble, if you've ever been to a casino, you've got to swing a big enough bag. If you've ever played in crypto, you've got to swing a big enough bag. If you just have to. And if you can't swing a big enough bag, you're not going to feel the gains the same way. So if between now and the release time for you, you were able to stack up, $1,500 or $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000, right? The extra money that you were able to put aside to use here, you would get a much bigger impact right away. So learning new skills, like Adrian said, going and getting an odd job or a side job because you need to right now, just to stack up some extra cash, right? Just to prepare for that. I don't. My wife was telling me she's been like going and she's made a friend here and she's running, and this friend said I couldn't meet until a certain time, and said they were doing something with their Etsy business. And then my wife, she wanted a copy of my book, so my wife gave her a copy of my book. And she, like, the girl had car seats in the back of her car, and she felt embarrassed, and she asked my wife the next time they saw each other, she said, "Did you see the car seats?" And she said, "No." And she said, "Oh, I was so embarrassed. I lied to you. I didn't have an Etsy thing in the mornings for the past couple years. I have a morning job, and I get up at 4 a.m. Monday through Friday, and I go and I take care of these two kids, and I get them to school. And I take them to school every morning. I go get them ready for school when I take them to school. And the family's very wealthy, and it takes me about an hour to get there and do all this stuff, but it's a job, and they pay very well. I'm just like the morning nanny, and I do school runs. And I was just embarrassed to tell you because I'm trying to be an entrepreneur and trying to build a business and all that stuff. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, this person, they've already bought an investment property, right? They're out here trying to grind and build their hustle. I don't give a damn how many jobs you have if that's what it takes you to do. Right? Like, I don't judge people because they gotta go get a job or a side
God
hustle or
no.
something like
God
that
no.
to
Yeah.
put a little cash in your pocket to fuel what you're trying to build. Like, we're in the middle of a launch right now with a client, an ecom or a Roma head client, but they have some ecom brands, and we've done, I don't know, maybe like 35,000 or so in revenue so far. And we're getting ready to do what will be probably $250,000 next week. So it'll wrap up to be a nice launch. But if we wouldn't have spent the 15 grand in ads, we wouldn't have had the energy in order to get the volume we needed. And we wouldn't have been able to make the 35 grand so far. So if you don't have the 15 grand to go spend in ads, then you're not going to see the success that we just got. And I'm not cheap. They pay me a lot of money every year, almost six figures for a fractional role that I do with them a couple hours a week. So I'm not cheap. So if you're not available or ready to invest, one of my best clients, his name was Paul Goff, and that was his story. He was running multiple, Lester works for Paul. He was running multiple physio clinics in the UK, taking 100% of his profits and sending them to me to pay me because I was coaching him on helping him launch a business in the United States. We were running ads, we were growing the business. I'll tell you now, he owns over 100 properties. He paid cash for every single one of them. He owns a multi-million-dollar house in Orlando, right? I mean, like on Disney property in Kissimmee, in one of their little gated communities. He's got 15 or 20 staff members here, right? He's got a huge, huge audience. He's got hundreds of people in his community on school, right? All of those things, and all of that was paid for by him taking 100% of his profits and sending them to me.
Isn't it interesting, Gary, how every time you hear these stories, it kind of ends with, yeah, he sacrificed this, but now he owns a property on, Disney's property, and he has over 100 rental properties, and da 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 da.
And he
It's
paid
like,
cash for all those properties. He
yeah,
doesn't own debt on any of that real estate.
on none of it. And and like and look, I'm not ashamed. I don't have a college degree, bro. I bagged fucking groceries.
Yep.
I've been fired from Applebee's. But
Yep.
you know what?
Bro, I ain't even got a high
But
school diploma,
but I
dog.
fucking in high school I was on probation. But you know what? I retired in my mid 30s. Like, I do whatever the fuck I want. I live a pretty damn good life. And dude, I bagged groceries. I had
Yeah.
people talk shit to me. You know what I mean? And I'd go chase carts out in the push carts in. Like, I wasn't even good enough to be the checker.
Well,
So
FedEx, right? They almost went under. Do you know what happened to FedEx?
no clue.
They had $5,000 left.
Oh God.
The
Woo!
founder didn't know what to do.
Woo!
He went to Vegas and played blackjack or roulette or something, and no fucking shit. And he won enough money to pay the fuel bill and keep the company moving. And now it's
Yeah.
FedEx today.
Yeesh. Oh man, been there
That's
before.
that's all he could do. If you
Yeah.
go read Tony Hsieh,
Yeah.
or the Zappos guy,
Yep.
not the founder because he bought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you go read the book, he talks at one point in time in that book. He said, "I'm sitting at a bar, I'm drinking, and I'm making a decision of whether I fund payroll or I
Yep.
don't run payroll, and I shut the company down."
Yep. Yep. I've literally been there before.
And
Been there where I had to go like open a credit card so I could run payroll that week. Like,
it's
I've been in that position.
yeah, and
Horrible.
that's where you're getting ready to get to for people here. Not that you're going to get to the point of being broke, but it's What are you willing to sacrifice
Yep.
today to set yourself up to never have to do that again?
Exactly.
You know, there's a saying, be willing to live a couple years of your life like most people won't,
Yep. To do what
to
others
live the
can't.
rest of your life like most people can't.
Yep.
And it's just it's up to you. You know, you can play the game any way you want, but I would really sit down and spend some time learning about money, learning about how to manage that. I would make sure I have all my pathways open to move money on chain and off chain. Right? I would have multiple paths, not just one in case one shuts down. Right? So if you only have one account with Coinbase, go get another account with Sphere, go get another account with another crypto exchange. Find yourself multiple paths to move money because you're going to need to. If you're making a lot of money and you go to buy something and Coinbase freezes your account, you're fucked. You've got to have another path to get your money there.
Yep.
That happened to me 2 weeks ago. My money was locked up for like 8 or 9 days, and I'm like, what the heck do I do? And who came to save me? Gary Henderson.
It
Freaking
happens.
sent me Spirit Ramp.
It
Yep.
happens. You know, it just happens. Like there's just weird flags and all this shit that go off. And if you're going to run your life on chain and you're hoping, right? If you're sitting here and you're hopeful, you're listening and you're like, man, I hope the Stacker agent could help me quit my job and never have to make money again. You sure as hell better figure out how to get that money off chain and get it into your bank account. You just have to send $1 and then get another path that you can send $1. And if you had 5 paths that you could send $1, then it would be great. You know, hopefully you don't have to move much money on chain. That's my goal for you, is you're able to move on chain and then you can just leave it there. You're able to move a little bit on and just leave it there. But go learn some skills. Go stack up some cash right now, right? Not fiat cash, but go get yourself some Solana whenever the dip happens. Like when it dipped to 124 today, if you're bullish on Stacker Agent and you didn't buy Solana, you fucked up. Right? Take your fiat and move it into USDC so you're ready for those moments. So you're ready for those retraces because it's going to fucking suck if Stacker Agent drops for you and Solana's at $280 and you need to go buy 10 Solana to get going because that's where you want to start at, and that's $2,800. Where if you buy it today, you'd only pay $1,320. That's up to you. It's your risk. But those are the things that I would be doing today. I would be trying to, you know, if I didn't have the available cash, I'd be trying to find a path to that cash, whether it's selling something or earning more, getting a side job or whatever. I would be making sure that I'm stacking up Solana and I'm ready to go. Right now, that doesn't mean I don't stack up other things and all that stuff, but I would make sure that I've got my Solana ready to go. I would be making sure I have all my pathways open to move money in and off chain. And then I would start working on my mindset stuff. And I would
And
start working on being able to release control. It's different. If
yep.
you've never ridden in like an autonomous car, like fully autonomous, not just like the Tesla that you're sitting behind the wheel, but in like a fully autonomous car. And
Like
I
no
have.
steering wheel.
Well, I mean, like the one that I ride in, I can't get in the steering wheel. They don't let you. So it drives for you, and it sometimes you get frustrated because it loops the block 2 or 3 times. And that takes learning a new skill set. It takes you releasing control to a machine and believing that machine can do it. Because you're going to have to put your money into a machine and release control of that and believe that machine can do it.
And I also
So
want
if
to
you,
say one more thing, man.
yeah,
Like for anyone in here who's working and like feeling, because we do talk a lot about that, you know, like quitting your job and you know getting to a point of freedom with that. But you should never ever be embarrassed about hard work. I just really like you know, I have nothing but respect for the guy that opens the door at the
Thank you, Joe.
hotels. I have nothing but
Thank you,
respect
Joe.
for the bellman. I have nothing but respect for the guy who goes and, bro, I was a busboy. You know how many fucking tables I busted IHOP? How many pieces of silverware I cleaned with my own hands? Like, I have nothing but respect for those people. So never, never, never feel embarrassed for working hard. There's nothing wrong with that. And I know, like, you know, you may even like get the wrong impression about me because sometimes I'll share some of the wins in my life, but it's like a lot of hard work along the way. and I was never ashamed coming home with job site dust on me when I'm crawling under a house. Like, you go do what you got to do and go make it happen, and you do that shit with your head held up high. And
It all washes off at the
that's
end of the
right.
day,
That's
man.
right.
It all washes off. And we were, especially men, we were put here to work. And I
Agreed.
know Gary doesn't believe in that, but we were put here to do, and to create and to build. And so much of this world has been sending this message that its life is about getting comfortable and getting and achieving comfort and convenience. And it's like, dude, this is the wrong message that the world needs right now. And sure, the new economy is coming and things are going to be shifting in a big way where people won't have to work, but
And
I will
I
never stop working.
sincerely
I'll be
want
Do you
working.
that
all
for
know though
everyone.
that? But do you all know that Elon is one of the top 10 Diablo players in the world?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I heard he was like the yeah, like the best player.
Yep,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%.
Heck yes,
So,
right. Yeah.
and Elon's running multiple billion-dollar companies.
Yep.
So the narrative of you have to work hard is absolute bullshit.
Oh, sure. I agree
You
with that.
don't have to work
You
hard,
don't.
Adrian.
I
That's a
don't either
bullshit
anymore.
narrative.
I
You
don't
have
work
to be
hard at all.
smart.
Yeah.
You have to be smart. That's why you want to stack
I
skills,
get
because
to
you
work
don't
hard.
want to work hard. You
Right.
don't want to work hard.
All
You
I'm
want
saying
to
is I
stack
just don't
That's a
skills.
want
great
people
point.
to be embarrassed for where they're at in their journey.
No, like
Yeah.
you've got to do what
Well,
you've
what are you
got to
working hard
do.
doing, though?
Well, I mean, look, I don't look at what I do. I don't think I work hard. I don't ever work
I know
hard.
you work hard, bro.
No, I don't,
You
because hard
just because
no
you
hard
love it,
work.
it doesn't mean it's not work.
No, but hard work's what my grandfather did in the coal mines.
Yeah. Sure.
That's hard
It's
work.
relative for sure.
I'm not doing.
It's
I mean,
relative for sure.
I'm sitting on my ass in a. I've got a fucking Herman Miller gaming chair that costs $1,800.
Yeah.
I'm in my cushy office with big glass sliding windows. I've got the air conditioner on.
I tend to think Grandpa Coal Mine did hard work, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not doing hard work. My dad taught me that. My dad said, don't ever work hard in your life. You never want to have to work hard. I've worked smart my whole life. Now, it doesn't mean that I didn't put in long hours working smart, but I don't work hard. You know, I look at hard like I'm blessed. I get to sleep at my house every night. I'm going to grill steaks. Literally, I'm so blessed that I ordered steak from Whole Foods that delivered so I can cook it tonight. And I didn't have to leave my house. Right? So I'm that blessed. I'm not working hard. So
I
I
love
just
that.
don't think that we have to work hard. I think we want to work smart. I think we want to make a lot of money for our time if we have to trade it. Right? I think we want to increase our value. I think we want to increase how much we're worth. But I don't think we ever really want to work hard. I think we should be willing to work hard. I am. I'm willing to get my hands dirty.
There you go.
I am willing to do it, but man, I never want to do it.
That's the difference, is the willingness,
That's it. Yeah.
and and here's the thing too. It's like, I'll tell you this as somebody who has done a good deal of his life doing actual hard work. No one wakes up in the morning looking forward to carrying a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet of plywood upstairs. Okay. As someone who's done that, you don't wake up looking forward to it. Now you may have a moment of immense pride when you're done building a house and you get to stand out in the street and look at it and say, wow, I built that. I did that with my own hands. And there's 9 months of my life that I just put into that place. And again, it's a feeling of pride that I've never been able to experience with anything else, because there's just nothing like it. Even making lots of money, nothing compares to like, wow, I built that thing. Holy shit. It's pretty cool. Flipping the switch and being like, wow, the energy works. And I put that switch there. But,
Hey,
but
hey, Joe.
yeah.
Before Gary's got to leave, I just wanted to. I think this would be really valuable for you. Which is just a quick question. We don't have to answer it now. I just want to plant the seed on the market cap of like Gary Coin and just other Gary coins in relation to the current price of Solana. So if Solana goes up to like $260 or
What is Solana right
$360
now?
over the
What is
next,
Solana? 120 right now?
it's one
130?
one in the 120s. Yeah. What happens to the market cap? How does that affect the market cap? Because he's so good with numbers, and every time he opens his mouth with this, I'm like always so like I
Well,
learn
we'll
so
double.
Well,
much.
We'll
So
double.
it's
We
really
double.
easy.
Yeah.
So if you go to Jupiter, and let me just teach everybody how to do this. If you ever want to know, well, what would Gary be worth if Solana was blank? Whether you think Solana is going to go up or you think it's going to go down. So here's what you do. You figure out how many Gary coin you can get for one Solana. Right now it's 532.
Yep.
So you can get 532 Gary coin for one Solana, 532.34. So if that's the case, so then you take the price of Solana, which is $133.44, and you divide that by 532.34, and that gives you 25-cent Gary coin, which right now, when I look at the price of Gary coin is 24.880. So right at 25 cents. And what would happen if Solana went to 250 and nothing happened? Nobody bought or nobody sold Gary coin. Well, we would take 250 bucks divided by 532, and we would have a 47-cent Gary coin. Now, if we have a 46.9, which is 47 cents, and we have it's almost 24.5 million, so I'll just run it off of that number times 24,500. Make sure I've got enough zeros in here. Oops, I think I did one too many. Yeah, there we go. Then that would put our market cap at $11.5 million, which right now our market cap is at
We're at like 6?
6.09
609.
million.
Okay.
Now, there are some dynamics that are going to play in there that
people will sell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And this is where, like, we had this happen to us before. We had Gary coin become very valuable at like 30 to 40 cents, while Solana was really cheap. And Gary coin became valuable as Solana started to go up in value. And Gary coin didn't grow enough. It was the Solana growth that caused the price action.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
So Solana, like if Solana just instantly went and doubled in price, then everybody would, to them, their Gary coin just doubled in price.
Right.
Because that's facts, right? In USD value, it's factual. And what people then did is they said, well, it's up, I'm going to sell because that's the smart thing to do. And if you're holding your Solana in Gary coin and you want to take profits when Solana pumps, you have to sell because that's the way you take your profits. And then what happened is people took their profits, they moved on, they said this was a good win, and they moved on. And then when Solana price dipped again, then Gary coin price went down and we had to rebuild from there. So we've had that happen in that equation. We have different liquidity stacks now. We've put 1 million Gary coin between 25 cents and $2.50, which will slow down the price action north of 25 cents just a little bit. And it will slow down the price decline just a little bit. So we'll be less dependent on the price of Solana and more dependent on the price of USDC, which will stabilize our coin more and we won't be as volatile. It doesn't mean that we won't go up and down with buys and sells. We will, but we're putting 1 million coins over a $2.25 range, which means we're going to have some big buckets to fill in order to move that, which is going to create a lot more stability as we keep growing. It's also something we need to do because right now, without that 1 million coins, we only have about 263,000 Gary coin on the market. And I intend on Stacker Agent buying all 263,000 of those Gary coin. Stacker Agent's going to buy millions of Gary coin. So we have to get those. We have to get them available. We would do a very big disservice to our community with a DAO holding the amount that it holds without pushing more out into the world to build base liquidity at this level. Base liquidity at this level is good. Like if Gary coin goes from, even if it went in a year from 25 cents to $2.50, everybody here would be happy as fuck. Like happy as fuck if that happened. And if we hit the numbers that Axiom's doing, so Axiom revenue today is it's over 1 million today. If you've never used Axiom, I put a link in the chat or draft chat. But Axiom revenue today is at 1.3 million. And that's their fees. So if we're taking that 1.3 million, even if we're spending 10% of that, we're spending $130,000 today to market buy Gary coin. And if I went and spent if I spent that right now, $130,000 right now to market buy Gary coin, I would get 396,000 Gary coin, and I would cause the price to impact by 24%. And that's just today. We would have to do that again tomorrow, and again the next day, 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 and again the next day. So we have to move more of our supply out, which is why we're giving rewards to our people at the that have locked their Gary coin. It's why we have 1 million Gary coin we'll give to stackers. It's why we have, we put 1 million in the liquidity pool, and it's why we still have about 3 more million setting there to allocate into the community, or 2 million, maybe something like that, to allocate into the community over the next year or two, so we can get these moved out. Because what's going to happen is they're going to move out, and then our agents are just going to buy them, and they're going to start shifting around, and the economy is going to move. So, that's the next 2 to 5 years of Gary coin. I can't promise you anything. I can't tell you it's going to go up in value, but based on what the other protocols are doing, I couldn't imagine Gary coin being less than $50 within the next 2 years for one coin. And I've done it before. I've had a $50 Gary coin before. I had to figure out the market, and that's what we're doing here. We've done
bought
it before.
a $50 Gary coin before.
Yeah, we've done it before, and I'm not scared to do it again. I have no problems at all looking at somebody and saying, you've got to buy a Gary coin. Well, what's that cost? It's $50. I have no problems at all telling somebody the Gary coin costs $50. I've done it before. I've had people buy Gary coin at $50, just like JJ said. So I can't imagine in the next year or two that we're not at that point, just based on supply and demand, in all honesty. Now, there's some oddballs,
100%.
right? There's
And
oddballs that can throw
adoptions.
that way out of whack.
Things like roadblocks will go away in the next 2 years too. So we don't even know what
Yeah.
obstacles will no longer be in our way that are in our way today.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not with that many traders either. And, it could be $500 in 2 years. There may be moments where we hit big retracements. Like, sometimes somebody's just going to make a decision. Like Kevin Chow, he owns like 350,000 Gary coin, and he's never touched them. I don't know that he will. I don't know that he won't. Right? But if he decided to, they're his. He bought them. They're his. So if he takes those 350,000 Gary coin and sells them all at $50 a piece, well, that's $17.5 million. That's really good return for him. If he hits the button that one day, well, shit, that's bad. But I plan on building some capital allocation that helps support that. I plan on market buying, and then I plan on market buying in a different way that builds this up as we hit dips. Because I know things will happen. We have some smart strategies that we'll build to allocate capital. But we're building. I don't know anyone else that's building what we're building. There's people building some AI trading tools, but I don't know anyone else that's building an economy the way we're building it.
Well, and not something that requires you to, not click the button. So
Well, and I mean, that's going to happen too. But I don't
sure,
know
it will.
anyone else that's building the economy the way we're building it that has the results that we have. See, we don't have a speculative economy. We're the number one coin in 2025. And we haven't released our tech yet. We don't have a speculative economy, right? We're not saying we think this is what's going to happen. We are the number 10 most expensive NFT on Solana today.
Well, Gary, you have released your tech. Your Gary Locked feature is a piece of tech that right there in itself is a game changer, and I know for a fact has definitely been driving growth for Gary. And we're only seeing a little bit of it. I mean, like you said, the top performing coin for 2025, and I'm very confident that that's only going to stay the same going into 2026 too. So you haven't built the most advanced tech in the space yet, but your Gary Locked feature, that shit, after I got to experience claiming my own Gary yesterday for the first time, which I just gave all of it away today, and more, is one of the coolest features I've seen so far in the space.
And there's a lot of that. A lot of tokens. We actually use the same protocol that Bonk uses. So we use the same protocol that they're using for their Bonk rewards. They gave them for a while. They stopped theirs. So if you've got your Bonk locked, you're not getting rewards anymore. So you may want to, I guess, go unlock that. But we use that protocol. And, there's a lot of other communities out here that have what's called staking. And I mean, Jupe has, and Jupe gives out rewards, and it's a lot of rewards, and their token is not performing the same as what we're performing. What we're building here is very different than anywhere else. I'm running an experiment that's proving to be accurate. I've thought it was going to be accurate, and some of the people that are really close, I told them, I said, look, as we get results and as we move up the charts, I'll get louder and I'll talk more, because my theories of what I think we should do are going to prove to be true. And when they prove to be true, then I can get a little bit louder about what we built, because we have the results to back it up. If I sit here with a 0.2 Sol NFT and a 4-cent Gary coin, nobody cares to listen. But when I sit here with the number 10 most expensive NFT collection on Solana, the other day we were the number 1 most expensive collection with one of our other collections. We had 2 collections in the top 12. We have the number 1 performing token of 2025. Not everybody's ready to listen yet, but people are starting to. Right? We still got some work to do before everybody listens. When Giraffe are setting at the top of the charts every single day, and not just in floor price, but also in volume, that's when people really start to listen, because we flip all of the projects. Right? Like, I mean, we're going to get there. And yeah, we've released a lot of tech. We released a lot of really cool tech, but we haven't released what we found product market fit on. What we've done through the process, though, is build a community of people who believe in what we're building, and they want to be part of whatever it is. And it's an investor mindset that I've had to curate here, because it's not, will this thing that Gary's building work? It's, I believe that Gary won't stop until it works, whatever it is, even if it is the next pivot, because we had to pivot because of something happened. You know, if they come out tomorrow and issue a legislation that says that AI agents can't trade crypto, well, fuck, I got to pivot. Doesn't mean I'm done. It just means I pivot. I've pivoted before. And I think that's what we build, as a group of people who believe that I won't give up. I won't rug you. I will build value, and I will keep delivering. We build a group of people that there's integrity. Like, you know, Joe reached out a while back and asked if I would be willing to sell a stacker agent. I said, yeah, I would. And I told him it would be $5,000. And I said, that's the cheapest I told anybody I would sell it for, and that's what I would sell it for. And we didn't talk about it anymore.
That's the truth.
And then he reached out and he said, would you like to trade some Giraffe for a stacker agent? I said, I can't. And I said, this is the new price, because I can't undercut the person who just bought, because that's not integrity. And if I sell it to Joe for $5,000, it's Joe's now. It's not mine anymore. It's his. And if he decided to go list it for whatever the equivalent of that is in Solana, I wouldn't be the asshole that undercut the person that just bought. It's an asshole move to me. So the price went up. I'm sorry. It just went up. And that's just me. You know, you don't have to believe that. You don't have to believe that I won't sell my Giraffe. And some people won't buy because they're like, no, there's a wallet that's got way too many Giraffe in it. I don't trust that. It's not decentralized enough. That's fine. Don't buy. But if you can't trust me, then you just shouldn't be in our community, and you shouldn't be in our project. Now, you shouldn't blindly trust me, right? Go take a snapshot of how many Giraffe are in that wallet. Watch them. You know, if you're worried about Gary Coin and you've got a big bag, go take snapshots of the wallets. It's all on chain, and watch it and ask questions. Hey, I noticed there was 100,000 Gary that moved. Where did it go? Oh, well, that went to the Gary lock. We do that every month. Oh, okay,
Nothing
cool, cool,
wrong with
cool.
kicking the tires. There's
No,
nothing
you
wrong
should
with
ask
kicking the tires.
questions.
You should. Yeah, you should come in here and do your your DD. But I
And
fully
you should
agree with
keep
that.
doing it. You should
Yes,
keep
yeah.
doing it. You should never
Stay
just get
engaged.
blind and just blindly trust me.
Stay
You should ask
engaged.
the questions that come up for you, whatever they are. And if I can answer them, great. And if I can't, what I'll tell you is I need to go figure it out. Let me go look that up. Let me go figure it out. Now, that doesn't mean that you have a blank canvas to send me direct messages or messages all day on X and ask me questions. There's a public channel for you to do that. You don't get direct access to me. This is not one-on-one. Every Giraffe gets direct access to Gary. It's, I'm going to come into spaces and raise my hand to come up on stage and say, hey, Gary, while you're here, can I ask you a question? Yep. I come in at least a couple times a week. It's, I'm going to go into the group chat or go into Telegram. Hey, Gary, can I ask a question? Yep. It's not one-on-one time with me. It's not I get Gary to mentor me or coach me or give me guidance or answer all of my investment questions. You can go publicly tweet it and maybe I'll respond.
I mean,
Right.
for that matter, outside of me asking those 2 questions, I don't ever even talk to Gary for that matter. You know, like
No, I
I don't
probably
like take
text
his
Joe.
time.
I probably
once a
text
week
Joe
or
more than
something.
you text me, in all honesty.
You do. You text me more than I text him, actually,
Because
for
I'll
real.
text
Yeah.
him like a link,
Information.
like a big
Yeah.
sell or something like that I
Yeah.
don't want him to miss because he's running spaces.
Exactly.
And sometimes the group chat gets busy, so I'll just text him like the other night when we sold the 60 soul stacker, I text that
Yep.
to Joe.
Right.
Because he's running spaces and I want him to get hype and I want him to be excited. Like, Joe's not texting me. Now, someone in our community did. And look, not everybody's equal. I'm just real with you. If Joe reaches out to me and says, "Hey Gary, you got some time to talk?" I'll do my best to make time when I can and when my schedule allows. If someone that owns 2 Gary coin reaches out to me and says, "Do you have time to talk?" I'm going to say, "Show up in spaces." And it's not just that Joe went out and bought a bunch of Giraffe. He did. But it's also that Joe shows up every day and puts his time in here. And I value that a lot because he's not getting paid or compensated or anything else. So I look at that and I say, man, Joe's showing up. He's here. He's growing. He's helping us. How can I help him too? So
Day.
if you want that, then you have to put in the work before you put in the ask. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people take, hey, I've got some questions. That's fine. I'll answer your questions. And then I'm going to expect you to go by. And if you don't go by, then that's fine. I just don't need to answer your questions anymore. But also use our resources in our community. We've got a great community of people here. Like somebody asked earlier, like, how do I do this? How do I do this thing with Social Connector, one of the old wallets that we launched? Well, Dunk's got a video. I didn't tell them. I just sent them to Dunk. I didn't give them Dunk's video link. They can go figure that shit out. They should be following Dunk and be subscribed to his channel. Like, literally, if you're here in Gary Club and you're not subscribed to Dunk's YouTube channel that creates content about Gary Club, what the fuck are you doing? Don't come ask me a question until you've went and made sure Dunk didn't do a video on it. Like, go use your resources. This is DeFi. We have to figure this shit out on our own.
Again, it's working smart, like you said, not hard.
Right.
And my other mentor actually says it's not working smart, it's not working hard, it's actually working right.
Yeah.
And most people don't work right.
I agree with that. Like Adrian asked me some questions when he came into Web3, and I said, look, you've got to go join the Discords. You've got to go get your hands dirty. You've got to go, just ask questions, and it's the community that's going to help you.
And that isn't being a dick, by the way. That's actually being a good friend. Because being a dick is actually just answering the questions and not letting you get your hands dirty. Because now you don't know, like, again, it's giving someone a fish versus giving them a fishing pole. Like, I'm going to help you for 5 minutes, and then you're just going to be right back tomorrow, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Again, it's why it's like me, the guy who could hardly send an email, spent actual years figuring out how to buy crypto and shit. And now now I know what I'm doing. But
well, there's a perspective to this that 99.99% of people won't understand, and Gary understands this because of his success in Web 2, and I'm just starting to begin to understand this, is when you're somebody like Gary, or I can say now somebody like myself, where you're receiving, I'm not exaggerating, over 100 messages a day between all the platforms, Discord, Telegram, Facebook, WhatsApp, I don't even need to name them all, multiple X profile. When you're getting that level of messages, and then you add in phone calls and Zoom meetings and consultations and leads and all that stuff, and you add all that stuff in, it becomes where you are only one person. You can only spread yourself so thin. And so with Web3, what I love about this is it's going to free me up from that, and from being that person that everybody wants to be connected to, and everybody wants to ask questions to, and everybody, like, that's why as a creator, this is my gateway to my freedom. And they say new level, new devil, and I'm experiencing this firsthand in a way that I never have before in my whole life. And I know that's what, so I try to bug Gary as little as I possibly can, but I also just love talking to him because he's my friend and we just nerd out on this stuff all day long. So there's something that people just don't understand because they've never been in that seat where he's sitting at right now, where he's got hundreds of people a day, hundreds, I'm sure, hundreds a day reaching out to him, asking him for help. So the best thing that we can do to support the community is to go watch Dunk's videos and to go jump into the Discords. And I didn't get that at first. At first I was like, man, but now that I'm sitting in that seat, I know exactly why he has to start delegating and taking himself out of the equation and allow the community to do what it was designed to do, what Web3 is all about doing in terms of empowering
let
each
me
other
tell you
through
this,
community.
Boycell, just you know, again, I'm nowhere even near that, and it's hard for me to keep up on all my DMs and emails and text messages and from here and from there and Telegram and la 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 la. Speaking of which, I'm actually sort of going through some of my messages right now, and I know JJ has an announcement. I know Dunk has an announcement, and I know there was another question about like from Valerie, what's the percentage of the lockup? And I'll just do that one real quick. Valerie, it's a on 6 months, it's a little over 25% as it stands right now. Now that can
And that's
change if
important
more
as it stands
people,
right now.
yeah, if more people lock up, that's gonna, actually go down. If less people lock up, that'll go up. So as it stands right this very second, it's about 25.5%. If no one else buys into the 6 month lockup or the 3 month, and again, that's on the 6 month if you have like a 3x type thing. So,
And
you know,
I'll say really quick before you get into your announcements and stuff, and then I'll dip out for a bit. If you guys are still here, I'll come back. But what I will say is I don't get DMs because I've trained our community not to do that.
right. Yeah, that's a
I don't
good
get them.
thing.
I get probably 2 or 3 messages a day across every single platform that I'm on because I don't engage in that manner. I engage in a one-to-many manner. I make myself available here. I come here regularly. I do my morning stream every single morning. I respond publicly on X to a lot of things, and those are the channels to reach me. Now, I am nice, and like somebody messaged me the other day and said, hey, I made some songs, and I was like, great, I'll check them out. I'll reply back, but I'm not answering questions. I just don't get it. I've trained our community that that's not a level of access that is achieved with me. Early on, I used to bill for it, and it used to be tokenized and stuff like that. Now it's just not available. Period. There is a path, but it's a 250,000 Gary coin, which is what I knew. And some of you knew when I launched the GC 100 that I said I want this to be like 100 grand, and it's getting there. If you wanted to go out and buy 250,000 Gary coin right now, it's not cheap to go get 250,000 Gary coin, which was my goal.
What
Because
is that right now? How much is that at this point? That would be
oh man.
what,
So let me turn off ultra mode.
About 60,
50,000?
about
50,
60,000,
60,000.
about
Okay.
60 grand.
It would be 74,000
74. Okay.
to buy 250,000 Gary coin. And
God, I'm so glad I bought when I bought. Holy
I can
shit.
tell you, I have a client that pays me $90,000 per year for less than what the GC 100 offers. They get dedicated time, which the GC 100 doesn't. So it's dedicated, right? I'm available, but it's less consistent. And the GC 100, I never get paid. I just have to do it because you hold the tokens. So my goal is to make that be worth $250,000 or $500,000. So I don't ever have to do it. It's there. And it's a goal, and you should strive for it. And I will deliver on it. I've delivered on everything I've offered, but I don't have to do it. I mean, even today, I have a mastermind that, and there's very few people in there. I don't focus on it. I don't spend time there. I made a promise. I will deliver. I think JJ has access. I showed up to the call today. Dunk has access. I was on the call waiting. Nobody else showed up. Dunk could have came and asked me business questions. He paid his way into that. JJ could have came and asked business questions. He paid his way into that. They don't show up. They don't want that. That's okay. But they did pay to get in. So while I was on Spaces today talking, I was also connected to Zoom in case someone showed up, and I would have dipped and got there. So I'll always deliver what I need to deliver on and what I promise. But I always want those things to be way out of price, and I don't want anything to hinge on me. So my goal is to remove all access to me, period, other than what that GC 100 will just nobody will ever be able to get it. Or very few people will, because I mean, I don't expect people to spend like $500,000. Eventually, maybe they will, but that's just where it's going to land. So I think that as a generalized community, we've done a really good job at helping each other and creating content and supporting each other and answering questions of each other, because I don't get them in my DMs, which is amazing. When I do, I do my best to get back to you, but most people realize, and they just don't. They just message in the public chats, and I'm pretty active there. I think that's one thing that a founder can do, is become more active publicly and set expectations that you don't get one-on-one access, because if not, you're stuck in one-on-one messages all day saying the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
The other thing I don't do, and then I will pause here. The other thing I don't do is I just don't do calls and stuff like that either. I have one Zoom per week on my calendar, and I have one call per month on my calendar, and that's it. That's the only things on my calendar. My calendar is completely empty. Like my kids are coming down tomorrow. I'll be off having the entire weekend with them.
Oh, are you an empty nester?
Yeah, and my kids live with their mom, and their mom lives in South Dakota.
Okay, gotcha.
So they're
Gotcha.
coming down for Easter for the weekend.
Right on.
So, my wife and I will spend the weekend, we'll have fun with the kids. I just don't have anything on my calendar. I have a 2:00 call on Tuesdays. And once a month, I do a call with another one of my clients, and that's it. And he just books it with a Calendly link. So I do 4 or 5 calls a month, and that's it. And that's my schedule. And that's how I like to keep it. I want to get rid of those 5 calls. I'm hoping Stacker Agent helps me
Come
buy
on,
those 5
Stacker.
calls way back
Yeah.
out.
Come on, Stacker.
And I think it will. I just think I'm going to be able to buy my way out of that really quickly. But I've got a lot of work to do with Stacker Agent. I'm building it.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of focus, and it's taken a lot of time and energy there. But I just set up a lot of different stuff. I like Web3 about that. I don't love to provide customer support. I like to provide great service. When we had Gary Club before, we had a full mod team that was paid, and people didn't take enough ownership. And as we backed up and came back and kind of took another stance at it, I said, I'm not gonna hire the team anymore.
Right.
I'm gonna let the community take ownership, and if they don't, then I'll just let the asset sit there. I'm willing to do that for now until I get the product built the way I want it. So, all right, I'll let you guys do your thing. I'm gonna take a little break and go to the potty.
Thanks for popping in.
And I will talk to you guys in a little bit if you're still here.
All right, man. Cool. See you later. JJ, I know you got your announcement from your other community giveaway. Go for it, brother.
No, Joe, I have no announcement. I was just texting you in case you didn't see the people on stage. That there were a couple of hands raised and stuff like that for a while.
Okay. I thought you did. Never mind. Dunk.
But with that being said, I do have a giveaway going on with the Wii Gens.
Sorry.
It's all over my profile. Please, tag someone, drop a comment, engage. We got one of the Wii Gen co-founders on the stage right now. They're a pretty dope community. I vibe with them. They're on a similar enough journey as far as not wanting to trade time for money. My understanding, they also provide utility for their holders. So if you own like 5 of their NFTs, they actually help get you utility in the form of payment, like Solana, deposit it into your wallet. And they can explain more. But I just vibe with. I don't vibe like I'll go and I'll chill with like other communities and do what I have to do, obviously. But not all communities I vibe with, like at my core, and that has to do with not wanting to trade time for money. I'm here for the shits, but I'm mostly here for business. You feel me? I can fuck around with my fraternity
100.
brothers. I can fuck around with my college buddies. I can fuck around, with my homies back in the hood. And I'm here to accomplish something. And for me, that's not have to get a job. I quit the 9 to 5 back in 2021, and I'm not looking to go back. And this, by owning these assets, it's getting me one step closer to there. I can't wait till I provide content to show that I got one Stacker Agent, one Giraffe that's going to outperform my whole real estate investment portfolio. Like, I'm just fucking giraffe-ish as fuck. But we can turn it over to Dunk if he has a quick announcement. But I would definitely love to give some space and room for Weegens to share. I believe
Yeah. Weegen, go for it, brother.
or something. Yeah.
Man. Welcome, JJ. I love you, man. Now I understand why you're so bullish on these cats, bro. Like, yo, I'm serious, man. The working man, there's nothing wrong with the working man. You got to be smart as the working man, right? You know my story, JJ. I'm a North Philly street corner cat, right? So I'm in construction my whole life, but you know what? I worked my way to where I'm the foreman. I'm the super on the job. You know what I mean? It's still hard work, but I ain't doing that physical hard work. Someone else is doing it for me. I do the simple shit. I try
You
to
know
do
what,
my life
Weegen?
simple.
I got to stop you, man, because people don't know this. The superintendent is the most, he is the hardest working, most unappreciated person in all of construction. Nothing, the superintendent is the linchpin of everything and gets zero thanks, only gets bitched at. But you're the one that makes it all happen. So
What's
let
the
me give you your
superintendent? What's the
It's
superintendent over there?
a
you
super
just
you run the job site.
Yeah, you run the job site. You pretty much make sure it
So
gets
like
done.
site manager.
Yes,
You guys would call
yes.
it like a site manager. Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it.
Yeah, like I got to be able to, like, I take 2D, which is the plans, and put it to 3D. I can do that. Like, everyone could build shit, but everyone can't read the plan, let alone bring it to life. Like, so that's what I mean. Like, I've been in construction 15. I'm gonna be 43. I worked hard to get where I am, but now I still work. Don't get it wrong. I work with my brain. There's a lot that goes into this, but it's easier. I'm not humping 12-foot sheetrock anymore. I'm not doing all that shit anymore. That's for the young bucks. Let them do it. And just like with the whole journey with the NFTs, man, like how you grew, like I just found out about the Giraffes. I don't even know how JJ came across us. I truly don't. He's a New York fan. I'm a Philly fan. Like this don't even mesh, but we mesh here. You know what I mean? Like, and we're
Philly
and
fans are no joke.
and we're here. You know what I'm saying? We're here. And the weekends are simple, guys. Like I've been around for 5 years. My other co-founder been around for 5 years. My artist been 5 years. My dad's 5 years. We all started on a crow chain. My other co-founder we met 3 years ago on Polygon. So we're family. We're not just a team that came together. We're family, right? And dude, we were tired of getting burnt. Tired of these fucking jokers taking your money, man. You know what I mean? They take your money and they say, "Oh, I got mental health issues. I'm going to rug now, and everything's kosher." That's not how shit works. Because in the real world, play with people's money. Don't turn out right. But in Web3, it's okay. Everything's okay in Web3. It's the way it is. And like I don't know nothing, right? Like I'm a construction guy, dude. I'm not a dev. I'm not an artist. I just like to collect NFTs because it reminds me of collecting base basketball cards when I was a young buck with my friends. And that's what draws me to NFTs. I'm a founder by default to show motherfuckers that a project could be done by the simplest way ever. You know how that is? When you mint our project in Solana, we take Solana, we stake it, and we let that Solana build monthly, and we let the Solana work that you gave us, not building in the background and spending your Solana on shopping sprees. We took your Solana, we staked it. We got about 90 some of your Solana put into good use, and we're coming up on our fourth payment. Like we got 7,000 weekends in our collection. We gave the first payment was 12 cents, the second payment was 14 cents. We just gave 16 cents a weekend. Just hold five. You ain't even got a stake. Just hold them. And then we even added a staking contract, a staking platform, which is a salt staking, and you don't have to stake at all. You just earn extra token, Gotham and Friends token. We got DAOs that you don't have to do nothing extra. We do raffles with merchandise, IRL merchandise tickets for $1. We ship it to wherever you are in the country, man, in the world. We ship it because our other founder I told you about, that's what he does. He runs a huge print business. Like, so we have that aspect. Like, I don't work hard in real life. I work hard in Web3 because the people don't see the real grinders, the real builders, the real hustlers like us, you, me. There's a few of us. They always see the shiny shit. They're looking at the right hand as they're sliding that shit right underneath them with the left hand. And I gotta work to get us like, see, this is where we bump heads, me and JJ. He wants to be number one with the dress, but I'm number one. I want to be number one. So we're fighting to number one, but there's nothing but great competition because it makes both of us better at the end of the day. Whoever's number one, we got there together fighting, man. And that's what I want to be around. Builders, fucking people, community vibe. Like I'm DMing JJ. Like I understand why you're so bullish on these motherfuckers. I get it. I see the regens in you cats, and you see us in you because you were just where we were. See how that works? You got to the top. JJ seen a builder, a hustler, a grinder out there, and he goes, "Yo, young buck, your point two. We're going to show you how this works. We don't forget the little guy. Not like these other projects out there that they shit on everyone else, bro. They shit on everyone else. You got to kick in the doors. If you want to take this, man, you got to kick in the doors and let everyone know what you got." And JJ, man, I wish this was a little bit ago when Giraffe were 8, boy, because I would sweep, but I ain't going to lie to you, bro. Point of 7 salami. Jeez, that's a little hard to even sweep one, man. Jeez. Fuck. But man, I like what I'm hearing, man. I want to keep doing this shit, JJ. What we're doing, showing up, growing, organically growth, getting the communities, the mesh, real, man, real. Because at the end of the day, real is real. That's what it all comes down to. The real people, and that always trumps everything. Real always stops. always comes out. You know, I don't know. I'm high, but yeah, I think I got
I,
everything right.
I love it.
No,
Love it,
that,
man.
that's
Jeez.
perfect. Real quick, I appreciate all that. I just noticed down in the purple pill a couple I don't know how long ago was it. I was talking about the like the compound interest. I took a couple of snapshots of the calculator, whatever. Go check that out and just kind of again just vibe with what I was trying to cook earlier. But Joe, back to you, fam.
Dunk, hit it, because once you make this announcement, I'm gonna close us up. What do you
Cool.
got for us, Dunk?
I was just announcing that Joe and I are also doing a Gary giveaway. I just pinned it up to the top, so it's one. Just make sure that you're following. Most people already are following Joe and myself, and repost the space or repost that post. Actually, repost the space too. Come on, guys, repost that post, and I think that's and tag a friend, and I'll make sure. And I think we're gonna do that one tomorrow, and we might start another one tomorrow as well. One at like when we end this one. So cool. Just make sure you
Yes.
go and engage in that one and go and engage in JJ's as well or any of the other ones that you see along the timeline.
There's a million giveaways going on, guys. I see a lot of new people in here. Make sure you guys get in our Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
What
Giveaways in
what
there
is
too.
what is it? It's
It's in the
Gary dot
general. Oh, you mean the Telegram
yeah
URL?
Me slash
uh
Gary Club.
Mhm.
T.me slash Gary Club.
t.me/Gary Club. That's right. I always forget the T part. Yeah,
But
t.me/Gary Club, guys.
the giveaways in there, I know that there's some they're not all always going 24/7, but when they are running, I know that you need to have at least 100 Gary in your wallet that you connect. So
Yes.
just know that that's like in the Telegram, you need to have at least 100 Gary. So hey, you know what? There's a really good solution for that. You could either win it or you can go and just grab it because we're gonna make sure the price goes up. Whatever, like that's our mission to make sure that that price goes up. So if you want to, make sure that you get it at the best price. I mean, like this is not financial advice, but that's what I would do, and that's what I am doing. So
And
I've
just
been
to speak to what you were saying, Weegen, like
Mhm.
I know that whatever we're at 7 point, I think we're 7.5 or something like that for our floor, 7.3, somewhere in there. It is a lot, but I'll tell you this, dude. Today's just the cheapest it's going to be because it
Well,
always goes up.
I was
It
also
always goes
wondering,
up.
did we fill the spot today for a draft sale for the stacker?
No, not yet.
Yeah,
Let's
We
go
dude.
check.
still,
Ouija, and this is also something going on. Is there's
yeah, that's
different
right.
sorts of drafts, right? And like so there's a giveaway going on where it's like 5 different stacker agent drafts. And I don't know what the floor is on that. I think there was like 14 grand or
80.
something. It was
It's
12
80
grand.
Solana right now.
80
Yeah.
Yeah, 80
Solana, yeah.
Solana.
Yeah.
So there's 5 of those being given away, and how it's running is every single day. Like it already started. There has to be one sale of a draft, and if you buy a draft, then you get entered into being eligible for getting one of those 5 that get given away. Every day that there isn't a sale, then a draft gets taken out of the pool, right? So then 5
We
can
need to
become
sell in the
4.
next 24 hours
Yeah,
Yeah.
or
and
the
then
next hour. I mean,
also
the
like
next
if
hour.
there's a massive run up where like there's just people end up sweeping a bunch, more stackers may be added in any event, right? Like still it's developing, but either way, like this is a great, great, great time to get a draft. And also, bro, like I've
Yeah.
been seeing your stuff around town. Like I've been in the trenches a bit the last, few days, and y'all have been popping up. So super bullish on y'all, honestly.
Yeah, man. Good job. Love what you're doing, dude. And plus, I'm as a construction guy myself, I love construction guys. So I'm all for you, man. Happy for you. Want nothing but success for you, dude. Nothing. I want you to crush it and just be right there. Of course, I want you to be number two because giraffes are going to be number one. But number two, it ain't so bad, dude. Silver
Hey,
medal ain't too bad.
hey,
Real quick,
listen, man. Tomato, tomato. We'll get there, but first, man, it's just getting there. Like you said, it's not about the floor price. Our floor has been going up. Like we have a holder that's in our Discord every once in a while, but he's been there from the beginning, and our floor went from 0.07 to 0.19. He comes around, he goes, "Yo, what's the announcement? Like, what do you mean? The floor triple? What's the?" I said, "People are starting to see. That's it.
Yep.
It's people are starting to see. It's only a matter of time. Like you said, your price today 7.3, but tomorrow's high, and that's how it is with us. Like it's
Bro,
it's
when I bought
going.
my first giraffe, okay, I bought my first giraffe not look, JJ's been here for 4 years.
Sheesh.
I've been here for 7 months.
We
When I
started on
bought
ETH like
yeah,
during the last bull run.
listen to this. Wiegand. I bought mine for point 0.4. The PFP you see right there, that was a point 0.4 buy. I bought it for $50. That thing's worth like $950 now. So I mean, we do nothing but go up. That's why I just say, we're the cheapest we're going to be is today. Are there little retracements here and there? Not really. There's been a couple days. Normally, it has to do with Sol going down. So I mean, the price pretty much just goes up. And, again, outside of some like Solana retracements, we don't really get people dropping the floor because it's just stupid to, because they know, wait, why
And
would
we
I go
also
list at 5 when I can sell at 7?
we
It just
also
doesn't happen.
shook out. We also shook out a lot of paper hands. Like this is not our first go at it. This is not our first time trying to run it out. Like
4 years.
yeah, 4 years, and there's been at least a handful of times where we had whales just not be in alignment with us anymore and just floor the fuck out of our assets, and that's never good meta. But real quick to what Christian was
Yeah.
saying about this giveaway for the stacker, just to clarify, those are the superhero giraffe, and those are it's a 50. It's only 50 in the collection, and these are the ones that are going to get first access to the trading bot that Gary was explaining about. So when we talk about the release date, there's going to be first to the first 50 stackers. Shortly after that will be to all giraffe, and then sometime after that will be open public. So for anyone who wants to get early access but don't have the 80 Solana, you may want to put together maybe 7.5 salami and at least get your wallet entered when you buy a giraffe. Last thing I'll say about that is your wallet will only be entered for the raffle if you buy off the floor. If you get a giraffe through a bid, through an offer, great for you. But that wallet would not be entered into the giveaway, if that makes sense.
100. I would say today was a success. What do you think, Dunk, JJ? I think it was a very good day.
I
I'm
think
gonna
so, but I think we
bring
need to make sure that we all
Zazzy.
figure
Hold
out
on,
the.
Zazzy wants to come up real quick.
I say we got to make sure that we figure out that one, because I think we have an hour.
Oh, really? We have an hour until we hit our
23 hours was the last. It was a
Oh,
sell.
someone needs to buy a giraffe then. Someone needs to go buy a giraffe. Right now. Go buy a giraffe. What's up, Zazzy?
Yeah, I just want to add on what JJ said. The way I heard it from Gary is with those 50 stacker agents, I mean, stacker NFTs, uh, you once it starts going and people like your, what do you call this? Whatever you put in
Strategy.
your,
Yeah.
yeah, your
You mean like
strategy.
your configuration?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Configuration.
then you
Yeah.
make the person who owns that configuration will earn extra money from that.
There, yeah, there's
There's a
gonna
fee
be a
system to
way for
use it.
that fee. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so all that to say is just revenue on top of revenue. So I mean, if we're gonna really get into the weeds, not only if you have a stacker superhero giraffe, when it opens up to giraffe and the public, someone can just go say, "Yo, JJ, I like your stacker, I like your win rate. Let me go ahead and copy your configuration. I'll get a percentage of all of your trades. And so that's revenue producing. In addition, my understanding is that the stacker agents of 50 either have the lowest or maybe none. If I know it was lowest. I believe Gary said that there's not going to be any, but don't hold me to that. We'll get confirmation.
He said that it's the lowest, but the goal is to get to none.
Yeah. So as far as transaction fees, if you have one of these superhero, you're gonna have the lowest transaction fees that you have to pay, or potentially none. So when you start talking about using Photon and using Axiom and all of these fees that are generated with the superhero giraffe, the 50 collection, that will be the lowest, potentially completely free. And also no 1000 Gary needed in the wallet for stackers. So a bunch of benefits.
Hey, real quick, guys. I noticed there are a few new people in here. If you're new in here, make sure you're following all the speakers up here. That's gonna really, really make sure you're able to stay on top of things. Also, for you, Weejin, and I think I see a couple other projects down there. There's like the Nifty NFT company. There's a couple other ones in here. If you guys are, looking for a place to kind of come shill, shill your project, obviously isn't the most appropriate thing to do it in this space, but on Friday we do a shill space that we start right after we finish this. So you guys should come in, even if you're not the dev, even if you're just stoked, if you're just like me and just stoked on the project, guys. I'm a regular guy in this I'm not a dev, I'm nothing. I'm just a guy who owns Giraffe. So,
We
you
all
know,
are regular
you
people that
yeah.
are up here. There's
So
no
come
the
to
only
the
person
shill
in here that is
space.
Gary.
Yeah, come to the shill space, guys, and talk about your project. Have your people come and just tell us what you got going. We want to know what you're building, and just hype your shit up, man. So
Is that the one
that's
on Friday?
every Friday. It's
Right.
2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We probably should have pinned it up here, but if you click on my profile, you'll see it. Just check it out. It's every Friday. Like I say, it's right after we close this space down. It'll be open. So yeah, you guys with other projects that we normally get a pretty good turnout. We normally get kind of like you see in here now. Anywhere 30 to 50 people, and a lot. It does a lot. I've noticed like one other project that comes in there a lot popular. They've done really, really well in that space. We've done really well in there. We've picked up a lot of new Giraffe holders. So, especially for you guys who are like just getting started and your floor is pretty low. One thing I've noticed in there is that like if your floor is still like under a soul, people just kind of buy. So it'll get you some volume, and everyone's really supportive in there. So like the other devs are gonna reach out to you and want to help you out. So I would strongly suggest you go check that out.
It's pinned to
Um,
the top right now.
there you go, guys. So yeah, check that out. It's up top, and yeah, check it out, guys. Hope to see you there. With that, I'm gonna close
Be-
this out,
Before you
and
close the room,
yeah, go
yeah,
for it.
I just want to give flowers to everyone in this community. I've been with Gary since February, but I've been with other Web3 projects running 3 years now because we're builders. We really don't have a bear market. We just continue to build. But the magnitude of knowing the heart of this community and how that transparent you all are really got me because that's how I am. I don't normally speak on stage, but I just want to give everybody flowers. The community gives out the prizes and the challenge for you to win because we want you in this. It's too good of a secret to keep.
Yeah,
So I want you all to understand that. Do your own research, do your own deep dive because you don't want to miss out. I've talked to two of my friends this weekend, and they asked me, "Well, do you know the dev? Do you know?" All of that is really. I've known our devs in other Web3 projects, but nobody else in this community has, in other communities has matched the transparency that I've seen in this community. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
heck yeah, anytime, of course. Everyone's welcome up
Nice
here.
to hear from you, Zazie.
Yeah, it's very good to hear from you, Zazie. Glad you came up.
I am what you call this I'm really very shy, so I don't talk, but I
Ah,
would. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. I'm sure you can tell I'm pretty shy too, so it's why I don't really talk very much. Um, Joking, of course. Guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing another long time with us. I try to not go longer, than like hour and a half or 2 hours because I want to respect everybody's day. It just gets easy for me to get carried away. And what? The other day we went for 5 hours. Again, I try. I don't always keep to it. There's just always so much good stuff, and I want to keep talking and, hearing what everyone has to say. So, again, sorry for going a little bit longer today, but, you know, it was a good time anyway. So don't, I don't think you're going to be too mad about it. We normally get some pretty good alpha and, good, at least at the very least, very good conversation. So thanks for hanging with me, guys. I really love you all. I can't wait to see you again tomorrow. We'll do it again, same time, 11 o'clock Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern, and we'll do the same thing all over again, and then we'll do it again the day after that. So we'll see you there, guys. Love you all.
Peace out, everyone.